All right. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great night. Just want to give honor and glory to YaHUaH in the name of the Messiah, Yehouhosha, the Father. For you guys that are on YouTube, I'm getting started first. So I am also streaming on a different platform as well. So just bear with me as I put this out. I'm family man, so I got kids in the background that you may hear, and so forth. So, don't count that. But we're going to be talking about teachings today in regards to beliefs, battles, birthrights, and blessings. Chapter 4 out of my my book that I recently just updated. It's over 405 pages. A lot of resourceful information as well as presentation of things a little bit of a different way. And so just with that said, we're just getting started in regards to doing that. But I'm nobody, not trying to be somebody, just of that one body, Yahusha, MaShYKh, the Messiah. And that's what we're talking about today. So bear with me. I'm going to blow this shofar. And we'll get started after that. I'm gonna go mute for a little bit because I'm gonna play a little music as I start my platform, and I don't want to hit a copyright strike on YouTube. It's me and my wife today, Danielle, doing the ministry, but we're gonna get started. I'm gonna do the shofar blast, and we'll get started. I'm gonna go mute for a little while, probably about 3 to 4 minutes as I get started on YouTube. So I'll be back. But here we go. Let's make sure we got the sound. All right.
Shmai Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahusha Echad.
All right. For some reason, it doesn't look like that's the desktop audio is playing on here, which is fine. But that's fine. Not a big deal. But you seen it. So give me a second. We'll be right back. And we'll get started with everything. That actually allows me not to have to, since the desktop audio isn't playing. So give me a second. We'll be right back, and we'll get started with everything. Enjoy this reel. All right, all right. So we're back on YouTube and we're on TikTok. We got both going live. Again, we're jumping into chapter 4 here of my book. Before we get started, I did want to blow the shofar. So just bear with me for a second if you don't mind. So on YouTube, you could see it. You know, so I am streaming live on YouTube if you want to catch us on there. We have what we have on YouTube. The way we have it is you can always go back, and the link is on my profile. But we have a streaming reel of the Hebrew Aleph Beats. We have all the letters streaming, all 22 of them, and then it has our logo for our outreach, the SOS outreach logo, Saving Other Souls Outreach. But, you know, just as a disclaimer for everyone, again, we got kids, we're a family, so real time, so we just taking time out to do this. But recently, I just updated a release of my book. It's not perfect by no means. It's just me trying to share information and what y'all shared with me. It's over 405 pages of a lot of resourceful information, so the link's also on my profile. I'm not trying to sell it. If you can't afford the book, just let me know, and we can get you a copy. It's not a big deal at all. That's what y'all set us up for. But, you know, it is on Amazon. It's available there. And that's what we're getting into is chapter 4. And we're going to do a little bit of reading. So you guys, there's some of you guys that actually have bought the book. Thank you. Shalom Aleichem to you guys as well. And we're going to, you know, if you want to come up, please join. We're more than happy to bring you up to discuss particular matters once we start discussing it, right? Once we've put out some things, because how could we even get into it if we haven't even started talking about it, right? And that's where so please like, share, do what you want to, you know, bring others into this discussion. But for those of you that have got the updated book, it's a lot thicker than the old one. For instance, the old one was only 286 pages. The new one is 405 pages. And it's a little bit more expressed in that regards. It is self-published. Everything's copyrighted in that regards. But because some of the things that we put forth in the book is a Hebrew transliteration system. So you can utilize the Hebrew and the English and not have to be confused, and because we all know English, most of us are pure English speaking, and so it's not like we can ignore that fact. But yet Hebrew is so beautiful that you can, if you understand, you can transliterate it. And then we've created a system, and the greatness of what this is that each letter has its own individual sound, as it should be, and there's not any letters that are considered silent. And for instance, the Aleph has the A sound. Why wouldn't it? It's called the Aleph. And then they tell you it's silent. So modern Hebrew, the letters are right, but the way they express them is completely wrong. And once you are able to drop, and we talk about this in the book, but once you're able to talk about drop these deceptive veils that they placed on the Hebrew language, and understand each of the letters, like I said, have their own individual expression, then you're able to really see the similarities of modern English words alongside the Hebrew words that are expressed, if they're expressed in their true nature. And that's how we do. That's a lot of things how the book is. It's a transliterated work. There's a lot of all the words we take when you're reading the scriptures, and we transliterate it so you can see it. We reference the Strong's exhaustive concordance numbers so you can go back and see it for yourself as one way. It's not absolute, right? But it's one way to show you, to give you some foundation on what to look at. So here we go. We're going to get into chapter 4 of origin of beliefs, battles, birthrights, and blessings. So it starts off, we're talking about having the wrong word going the wrong way, right? Modern people and organizations such as Judaism, Muslims, Islam, right? Hebrew Israelitism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Roman Catholicism, and many more within the structure of Christianity itself are openly going the wrong way, including Yehudim, and all those of Yisrael, blinded and or lost that don't accept the Mashiach. And that's the only way is to accept the Mashiach. That's the way, the truth, and the life. And that's what our ministry is about, is expressing and teaching and not to convince anybody, not to control anybody, but we're just giving what we have. And if you can take something from it and grow from that, great. If not, then don't. It's all we can do is put out there the light that Yah has given us to shine in this world. So praise YaHUaH, and that's what we're going to do. And that's why we talk about these religions, because these that we just mentioned are really just a few of the more popular religions among many others around the world, right, that are going the wrong way according to the word of YaHUaH. So that's what we're basing our foundation on, right? Because everybody's got a foundation on something. If you have a belief system, our belief system is based on the word of YaHUaH. His all scripture is given by inspiration of Yah, and is profitable for doctrine, reproof, correction, instructions, and righteousness, that the man of Yah may be thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Right? So we believe in that. But allow me a chance to actually expose these issues in this study. Right? I'm not targeting any group or organization. I'm only going to point out the fact that all these religions of boxed-in beliefs, right, because that's what it is, clearly have significant differences that cause divisions among the people of the world. And that's what they are. It's boxed-in divisions. And everybody's checking a box on what you are or what you aren't, right? And it's a big bias on a lot of things, right? You know, how people try to tie, adjectives to, or, nouns to their names, yet then want to restrict others and say you can't. And it's like a controlled word. Everybody wants to control you. Everybody wants to control you. And we see your comments in that. If you have true questions, we'll bring you up. We're going to do a little bit of teaching, and then we're going to do some fellowshipping and bring people up. So that's what we're talking about. I don't hate any person, culture, or society, period. I have love for all the creation of YaHUaH and all men. I'm not anti-anything. It's just a waste of time being anti-anything. I'm just pro-YaHUaH.
Amen.
I don't concern myself with the influence, action, and spirit that comes with some of these religions that are contrary to YaHUaH. These mentioned are directly tied to fallen deities, including angels, right? The book of Enoch fills in many gaps only possible with the foundation of in the covenant book of the 66. You got to have a foundation to be able to put things on. Otherwise, you're going to get, floods are going to come and you're going to get washed away when they come to try you, because you can't learn new things without having to grow in that stature. You're going to get tested and tried in it. So do you really want to grow is sometimes the question that you have to ask yourself, because there's going to be trials come with that growth. I mean, this is a real trial fire. Abraham had to go through the fires. Meshach, he had to go to death and hell in the fires. Ain't nobody escaping the trials. You still got to go through it. And he said, are you going to be gold, silver, or precious stones? Or are you going to be wood, hay, and stubble? And he said, depending on, what you are, what you present, is how you going to be, how you going to survive. So I believe we presenting gold, silver, and precious stones on our foundation. And if the fires come and try it, we're going to survive and be pure and be purified through the fires. Amen. But continuing, ultimately, we're all part of the creation. So if I want YaHUaH to love me, this is such a simple principle. I must love my neighbor as myself. How do I really love myself is the question to ask yourself right now, right? And not narcissistically. That's the problem. It's not like you don't want to get covetous of your own self. And that's what people do. The scriptures speak clearly about those climbing up another way, because there's another way, and to ignore that. Remember, this is the Mashiach speaking to us when he talks about those that come up another way. If we look at Yehukanan or John, the book of John, chapter 10, verse 1, and then also verses 7 through 9. So the book of John, chapter 10, verses 1 and 7 through 9. If you got your scriptures there with you, let's roll. Here we go. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that enters not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. Then said Yahusha unto them again, Verily, verily, I say unto you. We jump to verse 7. Verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door. And that word in Hebrew is fatach. Fatach. He says, I am the fatach of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be YaHUaHUShI. He shall be saved. That's what that word means, YaHUaHUShI. And shall go in and out and find pasture. Powerful, right? He is the door. The door to what? And what is the sheepfold? You have to understand Moses' tabernacle and understand you coming into the courtyard. You got to be able to enter in and out of the courtyard, right? And be able to move in that realm. Now this one too, right here, is a good one to show too, because it block out, you know, because they get too caught up sometimes on the face of maybe it's a Caucasian man or whatever. So I blacked out his face. To eliminate the biasness.
That's so smart.
But that's where you have to understand the tabernacle, because if you can't even come into the courtyard, how are you going to come into the holy place? If you can't even come into the holy place, how are you going to come into the holiest of holies? You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand how to walk. And he is the tabernacle of the temple. That's the wonderful thing. That understand that the Son is a picture of the tabernacle, but the Father is a picture of the temple. Bigger and grandeur and is steadfast. And he stays where he's at. Always founded. Remember, the heaven is his throne and the earth is his footstool. So he still possesses, the earth is his and he possesses it in the fullness thereof, as he says. So clearly there's a wrong way, right? That may get you where you want to be, but it will be by another way. Not the way of Yahuwah if it isn't backed by scripture. We should take the time to point out a few historical facts and situations that are not truthfully taught in our schools and churches, if at all. These subjects are available online in libraries and bookstores everywhere. You'll be able to see the reality of your own position in this world by understanding the roots of what you are involved in. Further along, we'll look at the shape of the earth, right, containing the world. Coming to the realization that there is only one right way, and it is the Mashiach Yahuwah, and not his image, right? Not just his image, but his whole existence, yesterday, today, and forever. Stop. We can't be caught up in worshiping images and idols, and that's exactly what he told us. Who cares, you know, about a physical presentation? That's idol worship. That's worshiping man. That's not worshiping the unseen Elohah, YaHUaH, the self-existent. So stop trying to put an image on it. Let's talk about Muslims, Islam, and the fight for the land of Yisrael. A lot of people call it Israel. I don't call it Israel. I call it Yisrael, because that's what it's in Hebrew. If you understand true Hebrew, it's Yesher and El. The word Yesher, the book of Jasher is really the book of Yeshar. So that same word of Yeshar means upright or righteous. And that El is that power or that might. So it was the righteous power that's what Jacob was named. And they trick you. They trick you and have you call it Israel, Isis, Ra, and El, because they got you calling on fallen other deities. They also, the biggest trick that they've given on man in this very day is they got everybody calling Yah God. God is the Babylonian deity of fortune and finance. And they got him calling Lord God, Baal God. No, that ain't his name, man. It never has been. His name is Yahuwah. Yahuwah.
Amen.
Adonai. Right?
Amen. Amen.
Yahuwah Olam. Right? Everlasting. Yahuwah Elion. The Most High. Right? But he's not God. Precept that word for yourself. Do yourself a favor and understand that where the root of the words that they present and say, oh, just call it. Because look, the whole world. I mean, every religion you talk about says God. Every single one of them. That's the God of this world. His name is YaHUaH. His son's name is YaHUaHUShI. He said, I come in my father's name. So if he ain't got his father's name in his name, then he ain't the Mashiach and he didn't come in his father's name. He got to have YaHUaH in his name. His name is YaHUaH. Ahia, Asher, Ahia. I am Yah that I, let's say it this way. Ahia, Asher, YaHUaHUShI. Say it in the fullness. You got to understand what was going on. And you got to read the script. Ahia, Asher, Ahia. Then he goes on to say his name is YaHUaH. YaHUaH Eloah, Elohaki, Abraham, Elohaki, Yitzchak, and Elohaki Yaakov, of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac and Jacob. He further went on to say in completion of that name when you continue through those scriptures, and I speak about that in my book. I do a whole breakdown on the name in the book. So let's keep going. Let's talk about Muslims, Islam, and the fight for the land of Yisrael. We today try to separate Muslims into fascists, radicals, or whatever term they may want to use for Muslims that are more aggressive than others. All Muslims have the same writings within their doctrine, which they call the Holy Quran, or in Hebrew it's Quran, which means horn, because it's a Hebrew word. There are specific verses and passages that call for the extermination of all infidels, not realizing that they themselves are classified as infidels according to the words of Yah. One word for unbelieving is bagad or bagad in Hebrew, and an infidel is someone that is faithless, unbelieving, and doesn't trust in YaHUaH, not just Elah, which is the deity, or which they call God in Aramaic. So the word Elah is a Hebrew word, which also means deity. So they're not claiming nothing new. It's just a variation of the word Elah, given some context. And the word Elohim comes from the word Elah. It's Elohim is the plural of Elah or Eluah. So Eluah is the singular pronunciation of how to express Yahuwah Eluah. Because there's no deities that are called Eluah, but there's many deities that are called Elohim or Els or Elah. Check this out. But the Yahuwah of Abraham, from which they claim that their very own beliefs come from, look it up from yourselves. They don't have nobody else. Yahuwah, who do you think they got it from? They try to claim Abraham? Well, this is who Abraham's deity is, Yahuwah Eloah. But Elah doesn't refer to a deity. So it's just not specific. The majority Muslim opinion classifies the Yahudim, which they call the Saturday people, and the Christians, which they call the Sunday people, right, as being in this class of infidels among all people of the world. Let's look at the comparison used in the scriptures regarding infidels. And this is in 2 Corinthians, or Corinthian Beef. 2 Corinthians 6, 15 through 18. 2 Corinthians 6, 15 through 18. Mashiach Yahushai is his name. And religion is already burning. Check this out. It says in 2 Corinthians 6, 15 through 18, in what concord or chabar has Mashiach with Belial? In what chabar has he that believes, or iman, right? He that believes with a bagad, with an infidel. And what Barith has ATh QaDUSh, or the temple of Yah, with Kazav, or idols, right? For you are the temple of the living El. As Yahuwah has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Eloah, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be you Nazar. That's where the oath of a Nazarene comes from the word Nazar, which means to be you separate, says Yahuwah, and touch not the tameh, the unclean thing. And I will laquach, receive you, and will be a father and eb unto you. And you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahuwah El Shaddai. Right? So this is the only way not to be an infidel. You got to go through the Mashiach. You got to put down your idols, and everybody got idols. Everybody got idols. There are some people who unfortunately claim to be a Yahuwah, right? But still fall under the term of an infidel because they openly and privately do not separate in how they live their lives, and they compromise the word of Yahuwah with the world. Now, we all fall short. That's why Yahuwah judges the thoughts and intents of our hearts. But I don't sit and ponder in guilt. I actually thank Yahuwah for his everlasting chesed, his mercy, and nacham. I repent, right? What you believe in classifies what and who you are. There's no way around that. What you believe in classifies what and who you are. Your faith and truth. Your emunah and emath. This is a hard point, but this includes using the false titles of the word like I went over as God, which modernly is from the Dutch and the German Goth, right? But in the Hebrew is God and Babylon. It's the Babylon deity of fortune, when in fact his name in short is Yah. Because I'm reading from my book. For those of you that are for YouTube, for those that are watching on TikTok, I hope you're getting benefited as well. And we'll bring you up. If you want to come up, I'm not really reading your comments. If you want to come up and voice a difference of opinion or something that we've expressed that you don't agree with, then we can bring you up and talk about it. If you want to share this with somebody that you want to bring up and discuss something that you don't agree with, we'll be more than happy to bring you up. So let us know. Go bring them in. Whoever that might be. Muslims, as they are called, and Islam, as their religion is called, have only been around since the early quarter part of the 7th century. Before the formation of Islam, they were called Arabim, which was Arabs, Babili, which are Babylonians, Khashidi, which are the Chaldeans, the Mahdi, which are the Medes, the Pharasim, which are the Persians, the Madin, which are the Midianites, the Falashti, which are the Philistines, etc., right? The Philistines, which are the modern-day Palestinians, because of the region of land that they lived in. These areas are known as the Middle East, right? Consisting of Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria. Well, let's start with Matzarim is Egypt. Ailam is Iran. Iraq is Iraq. Lebanon, which is Lebanon. Aram, which is Syria. Aram is Syria. You know whose father he was. Yeradan, which is Jordan. And the Philistine, which is the Philistines or Palestinians, among many other nations in that area. These modern people are direct descendants of Abraham through different lineages. So let's take a look at them in the descendants of Aram Naharim. Because you know Abraham was a Mesopotamian, right? Abraham was a Mesopotamian. Aram Naharim is how you would say it in Hebrew. He was Aram Naharim, which is from the lands of many rivers. And that's what that means, of Mesopotamia. So we have to understand who this line is from. There's two different lines that were coming forth, because initially you had Adam Aish and Adam Aishah, right, which was them in the garden before they sinned. But when they sinned, he became Adam Enush, right, because he sinned, which is the sinful man. He wasn't necessarily Adam Aish anymore, and she became Adam YaHUaH, which is Then he named her after she sinned. He named her Hua. Before, she was bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. That was her name. That's who she was, and she was known as Isha because of that. But her name, she changed the nature, and they changed the name, and that's what happens. And so from there. They had conception. She had the sin came. She had conception and sorrow to bring forth sons, and for her desire for her husband as ruler over her. And that word is mashal. We're supposed to rule over our wives, but we're supposed to be righteous rulers. And it's a responsibility. It's not just like a right you have, because with all rights comes responsibilities. It's a covenant that we make with the Most High. Because we're going to have to answer for everything that we've done. The great thing is we can repent and move forward if we have messed up, when we do mess up. So before we get into the line of Queen, we're going to look at the line of Seth or Sheth. And before that, though, they had Habal, right? It's interesting if you understand these lineages, right? Because the reason why we're starting back with Habal and Queen is because that's where the battle started. And these two that came forth were not brought forth in the image of Adam. They were not. They were brought forth because let's look at Abel, for instance. His name was Habal. In Hebrew, the word Habal, right? In Hebrew, it's it was all these. It's ATh Habal. Habal. So it's not Abel. His name was Habal. So it's a bad translation that they gave us with that. And then this would be and then this would be a Habal. Right? So what you got to recognize here is the Ha and the Ba. This word means the. This word is Baal. Or Baal. Or Baal. He was the first one to die. And guess what his name meant? Vanity. His name meant vanity. It never mentions anywhere technically if he ever had kids or not. So we don't know if Habal had kids. And I might mention that again. But what we want to look at is that Seth had a lineage that went all the way down. And the interesting fact that we've seen through all this lineage that went from Seth all the way down to Jacob and through Abraham, because Abraham had a various couple different lineages, and that's something that a lot of people misconceive as well. Understanding, it says his seed's going to spread across the whole world, like the sands of the sea and the stars of the heavens, right? Yep. For instance, Seth, if you're reading online, let me see, I can share the document.
Like the 12 tribes?
Maybe I can't. Yeah. So what we have here is we have a breakdown. All of it in the Hebrew in the book. So we have a breakdown here of Abraham's lineage in Hebrew, when you could reference each name in the Strong's. So you don't have to go trying to search everything out. It's right there. You can go look it up. You can see what their name meant per se, and maybe a brief meeting. And then also what we're going to get into and who Sharia is, because they present her name wrong. And we're going to show that too, because they take a nature from Sharia, who she is. And so we break down we go also through the 12 tribes, break it into the Hebrew. And so you can see, and a lot of people forget about this character right here. Dinah.
Who that?
Dinah. What? You know about Diana and all the goddesses of the world and whatnot? Why she never get mentioned no more?
Why?
I know. It's most of the women, man, they turn and they do their own thing, and that's look at the hell she brought on to the brothers because she went about out in the fields by herself, you know what I'm saying? But Sharia, if you go look up the Sharia, it's 8304 in the Strong's, and it means Yah has prevailed, which is the fullness of her name. Yah actually did the same thing with them of providing the Ha to their names as one. Her name was Sharai, right? It wasn't Sharai, which is 8311. As translations say, it wasn't that. It was never Sharai. They try to tell you that it was. It never was. Her name was ZaRI. So because if you go look up the word ZaRI, it means to be deformed by excess of members, to prolong. And true, the Hebrew I is always the sound of the English I and never the E, the sound of the Yed. Moreover, the English Y is never pronounced with an English I, so it has a Yed there. It doesn't have an ayin on the end of her name. This confusion comes with the English name of the letter Y. So when you think of the letter Y in English, you hear an I sound, which is total confusion. It has an E, yeah, and an E sound only. So that's where the English is confusing, and they trick you, giving it the sound of I in its pronunciation, like Y, a W-I, right? Or why, the question of why. So I'm asking why do you have the Y sounding like an I? Or an ooh and an I, right? So Sharia was her name, and Abraham by YaHUaH added the Ha to his name, which became, so he was Abram and he became Abraham. And in Shari, she added the Ha to her name, and she came Sharia, or YaHUaHUh, which is 8304. Go look it up in your Strongs, 8304. Former in the Yah, commonly has been expressed as Shara, also, like Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, which is in the, I break this all down in the book because it's been a lot of misdirections in regards to her name. If you can see there, I do it here and then I break it down there. And that's what we're teaching about, is that the names have been misconstrued. And when they mess up the names, they change natures of things. Because in your name is your nature. And a lot of the characters in the scriptures and a lot of characters in all throughout, players, angels, whatever, they had various names based on their status, based on their state of life, based on where they were at, what they were doing, what was going on, who they were dealing with. They would have surnames or various names. Even the apostles had all surnames. So, because like for instance, you don't even hear about Ham anymore, right? Who did Ham become, right? Who did Canaan become, right? You have shalom, everyone. So that no, we're not saying Diane and Sarah. No, we were showing what we're doing is showing the we're showing that he had 12. He had the sons. These are the seeds, the sons, right? Of the 12 tribes. But then we also included in showing you that they had a sister named Dinah. Remember, they went and slaughtered the dude that got with Dinah, took her there. So going forward, Abram had his son by Hagar, the handmaid of Shari, named Yeshmael, who wasn't the seed of promise before Yitzchak was born. So here's another fight in the seed, right? So we're really discussing about the seeds of Abraham, because there's lots of fights on who they were, but there's only one seed of promise, which is so he was before Yitzchak was born. The seed of promise was after Abraham was circumcised through Abraham and Sharia when they had Yitzchak, because when they were circumcised, when he was circumcised, his name was changed, her name was changed. They both had this change in nature. Then they conceived Yitzchak and brought him forth as the seed of promise after the covenant and circumcision. That's when he was brought forth with Sharia. They had the name of Yah within it. When they had Yitzchak, his and her only son, under the changed name and nature. Technically, Yeshmael became half-brother of Yitzchak, or Isaac, and he was still given a blessing of land, even though he was born under Abraham, and with that name and nature, not Abraham. Hagar, his mother, was the daughter princess of Pharaoh, and really in Hebrew it's Phariah, the mouth of evil, Phariah. And she was a daughter princess of him from Matzarim, who was called and recognized as the dragon. Always know that the dragon is the Egyptian Pharaoh. And if you read through Yeshayahu, it clearly says he's the red dragon, specifically. So she was the daughter of the dragon. think about it in that form. And she was her lineage was trying to get through Abraham. Because they know the identities, that they know that lineage was coming through Abraham. The promise was through Abraham. Nobody else. Through Abraham. At that point in time, it was coming through Abraham. And there's this what we're talking about, the battles and what we're getting at. It comes down to the serpent. And we'll get there. We're getting there. So we're talking about the dragon. Again, this was done before YaHUaH added the Ha to Abram's name, making it Abraham. So there was a different phase and a different time of his life, and when he grew, Yah added that nature to his name and changed his name. Yet there's still another lineage of Abraham from his last wife. Her name was QaDUSh, and they say Keturah, but it's QaDUSh, who was married to after Shariah died. QaDUSh gave him 6 sons, who Abraham gave gifts to and then sent them away because he didn't want them around Yitzchak to try to kill him because of his Bakura, his birthright. Because they knew he had the birthright. But Abraham, 6 other sons. So his 6 other sons are right there.
6 sons.
He had 6 other sons, if it focuses, was Zamaram, Yaquashan, Madan, Medin, Yeshabak, and Shuk. And you can see Midian, Medan, Jokshan, Simran, Shua, and what their names mean, right? You can see right there. And see how we break it down in the transliterated Hebrew so you can say it properly instead of saying some weird. I don't get how they translated these names. Like, what the heck were they thinking when they were doing that? It's that you can hardly pronounce some of these things because it's just crazy how they did it. It's really simple when you can put it in the right way, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Muslims are also direct descendants of Aishu. So they're direct descendants of these what? Midian, Zamran, Jokshan. Medan and Midian are 2 different ones. Ishbak and Shua, right? But they're direct descendants of Aishu, or Esau, one of the 2 sons of Yitzchak. Aishu's descendants were also known as Edumi, right? Edomites, of the land of Edom, or Edom, as it was called for some time in the words of Yah. Edom, or Edom, and its people have always been against Yasharel, and have always supported other countries in war against Yasharel as far back as the Shabothi Yasharel, or the exodus of Yasharel from Matzarim, in which the Edomites refused Yasharel passage through the land of Edom. When you go to Numbers 20, 14 through 21. Now, Aishu, or Esau, is the non-identical twin, elder-born but younger conceived twin brother of Jacob, or Yaakov. You understood that? He's the non-identical elder-born but younger conceived twin brother of Yaakov. Thayum, Echi, Yaakov. When he sold his elder-born Bakura, birthright, he sold it to Yaakov for some food after he was exhausted from messing around with the daughters of the land of Canaan. And the daughters of Ishmael, whom their father, Yitzchak, and their grandfather, Abraham, commanded them not to mix with because they worshiped other Elohim that YaHUaH had Abraham leave behind when he left his kin. He's like, why are you going back over there? You don't know what I did to leave all them back, boy? What's wrong with you messing with them heathens? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'll let y'all go. Just keep it civil. Y'all can discuss anything in the comments. Just have that civil discourse and respect. You can disagree. So you don't gotta agree with nobody and with each other or whatnot. I'm cool with that. Just respect each other. You know. So we're looking at this birthright, right? So what happened here is YaHUaH had Abraham leave behind his kin. He had him leave his own country, kindred, and leave from his own father's house because they would try to influence Abraham contrary to YaHUaH and try to attempt to influence him to serve their Elohim, even though they loved Abraham. This situation isn't different with our families today. Abraham did leave with his father, right? You don't get, Terah was the right-hand man to Nimrod. I mean, he was right-hand man. He was the second. Just like Daniel was the second in line. His name in Hebrew, his name was Thorach. Thor. You want the first Thorach? He's the Thorach. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because, you know, even your family wants to keep you around them to keep serving their family deities and spirits and curses. They don't want to let you leave that behind. Like, no, you can't grow. Even after Aishu or Esau sold his birthright, check this out. This is what most people do, which he despised, to Jacob, yet he still attempted to get the blessing of that birthright from his father YaHUaH. He who didn't know that Aishu had sold the birthright to Jacob. Considering facts, it was Aishu, because a lot of people tell the story like Jacob did something wrong. It was Aishu and not Jacob who was attempting to steal the birthright, which was no longer his. Let's match up scriptures to these claims that I made. Jacob didn't steal anything, and he only followed the orders of his mother, Rebekah, as y'all call her Rebecca, Rebekah, who said, let any issues fall back on her. It was not simply that the birthright that Jacob was not simply the birthright that gave Jacob the blessing, but it was his actions in the way of his life that allowed him to receive it, even if he wasn't the first to be exposed or opened up to it. Jacob was the first to be conceived in it and eventually received in it. You got to understand, you can think you got a birthright. Look at Reuben. Rehoboam lost it when did some. You can lose your birthright. You can't just assume out of pride that it's yours, and that's what he did. Jacob said, I'm going to walk as if I'm the birthright's mine, and I got to carry this torch. Are you carrying the torch of the birthright of the Mashiach? Right? Saying that I'm carrying this light in this world forward to be a torch? Are you hating people? Right? And we're not teaching hate. We're just teaching what the scriptures, how this beliefs, battles, and birthrights got started based on what the scriptures say. And let's go there let's go to Genesis, Bereshit 25. Verses 27 through 34. So Genesis 25, Bereshit. Yeah, man. There ain't no big glory coming down on this teaching. We're just teaching some truth. You know? Praise YaHUaH.
Amen.
Bereshit 25, verses 27 through 34 says, and the boys grew, and Aishu was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And that word dwelling in tents is Ehalim. And Yetzchap, I don't like to say their English names. It's Yetzach. It's not an easy name to say. Yetzach. Yetzach. Isaac, right, loved Aishu because he ate of his venison. But Rebekah loved ATh Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Aishu came from the field, and he was faint. And Aishu, his name is not Esau, it's Aishu. Aishu came from the Shadah, the field, and he was faint. And Aishu said to Jacob, light, or feed me, I pray you, with that Edam, or that same red pottage. And the word is Edam in Hebrew. Feed me with that Edam, for I am faint. Therefore was his name Quare Edom, was his name called Edom. This is where he got that name right here. And Jacob said, sell me this day your birthright, your Bakura. And Aishu said, behold, I'm at the point to muth or die. And what profit shall this Bakura do to me? And Jacob said, swear, or Shabai. Shabai to me this day. And he Shabai to him. And Aishu sold, or Makar. Aishu sold, his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Aishu bread and pottage and lentils. So he gave him bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Aishu despised, it says Bazah, he despised his Bakura. He despised it because it wasn't his anyway no more. He couldn't walk in it. That's why he despised his birthright. See, people that have the spirit of Esau or Ishu, they're the ones that want to try to forcefully take the birthright. They don't want to walk in it and let Yah give it to them and let them receive it. You can think you're ready for it and try to take it by force, but Yah is the one that's going to give it to you or not. You can't just take the birthright. It don't work like that. You ain't the captain. Let's keep going and look at when the blessing got given. In Bereshit, or Genesis 26, verses 34 and 35. And then chapter 27, verses 26 through 33. So Bereshit 26, verses 34 through 35. And Bereshit chapter 27, verses 26 through 33. And we're going to read those continuously. And Ishu was 40 years old when he took to wife ATh QaDUSh. Her name was Judith, but her name was ATh QaDUSh, the daughter of the daughter of Beri, the Chatti, or the Hittite, and ATh Bashemat, the daughter of Elon, or Elon. Who's Elon? He's the Chatti, the Hittite, which were a grief of Ruach, or mind, to Isaac and Rebekah. Therefore, YaHUaH give you, there jumps to chapter 27. Therefore, YaHUaH give you all the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. And cursed be everyone that curses you, and blessed be he that blesses you. And it came to pass, as soon as YaHUaH had made an end of blessing Yaakov, and Yaakov was yet scarce gone out from the presence of YaHUaH, his father, that Ishu his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that your soul may bless me. And YaHUaH his father said unto him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your Bakor, Ishu, or your firstborn Esau. And YaHUaH trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before you came, and have blessed him. Yes, and he shall be blessed. This is where the blessing started. Most of the time, we don't even know where the blessing came from. Let's continue. Genesis 27, verses 46, all the way through 28, verses 9. See, we don't know what it says here. And a lot of times, we just talking about what we think. But let's see what the scriptures say. And Rebekah, so Genesis 27, verses 46, all the way through 28, 9. And Rebekah said to YaHUaH, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth, or Heth. If Yaakov take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are the daughters of the land, what good shall my life be to me? And YaHUaH quarrel Yaakov, and blessed him, and charged him. He blessed him again, and charged him, and said unto him, You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. See, he was living in the blessing. He wasn't messing with the daughters of the land of Canaan, or the daughters, of the daughters of Yishmael. He's leaving them all alone, or the daughters of Heth, right? And he charged him and said, You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, or Canaan. Arise, go to Padamaram, or Padamaram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, Bethuel, and take a wife from there of the daughters of Laban. You know the word Laban means whiteness? Laban means whiteness. Take the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother, and YaHUaH El Shaddai bless you, and make you fruitful, and multiply, or rabah you, that you may be multitude of people, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you. Give you the blessing of Abraham to you and to your seed with you, that you may inherit the land when you are a stranger, which Yahuwah gave unto Abraham. And Yitzchak sent away Jacob, and he went to Paddan-aram unto Laban, Bani Bethuel, Laban, son of Bethuel, the Arami, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob and Ishu's mother. When Ishu saw that Yitzchak had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan-aram to take him, and that word is Aram. Remember, Abraham was from Aram, Naharim. He was an Aramean. Aram. If you look at this and you start looking at the truth, and you'll see Armani comes from that word, Armenian, Armani. It's another deity that wants to be worshipped through a brand of product. It's crazy how once you see the true Hebrew words, it's all there. It's all in my book. And I have it transliterated just so you can see how it is. You can see that in here we have the transliteration. So you have the same word in the English, but then you have the transliterated word of the Hebrew right next to it, so you can see how it's pronounced and what it says. For instance, when we talk about Laban, what his name means. And you can go research it, and that's why, because the Hebrew letters represent, the English letters in capital represent the Hebrew letters. So I just want to show you how we're reading it and how we're presenting it. He says, when Esau saw that he had gone to Paddan-aram, and Ishu, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Yitzchak, his father, then went Ishu unto Yishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Machalath. See, he didn't listen. Rebellious still. Went unto Yishmael. Why? He said not to do that. The daughter of Yishmael, the son of Abraham, the sister of Nebiuth, son of Yishmael, to be his wife. And that's Nebiuth. And he was the son of Abraham, so that was so Nebiuth is the grandson of Abraham. So this was Abraham's granddaughter, right? That he was marrying, which he was Abraham's grandson. So he was marrying his second cousin. Hebrews, jump to Hebrews 12, 15 through 16. So Hebrews 12, 15 through 16 says this. And it's not talking about a race. Looking diligently, Hebrews 12, Ibarim 12, 15 through 16 says, looking diligently, lest any fail of the Chani, or YaHUaH, or the grace of YaHUaH, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Lest there be any zana, fornicator, or halal, profane person, as Ishu, who for one morsel of meat sold his bakora, his birthright. So we have a witness of the first and the first and the renewed of the scriptures talking about how he sold his birthright. It was all about a birthright, and that's what we're talking about: beliefs, battles, birthrights, and blessings. And that's why we're talking about here in the scriptures. We see some of the origins for the fight over the promise of Abraham. You can see the effects of an obedient and a disobedient son in these scriptures. To this very day, Muslims fail to recognize the land of Yisrael for the Yakudim, which was first given to Abraham from Yahuwah. The right was solidified by the event between Dudi Yisrael, or David of Yisrael, and Galithi Gath, or Goliath of Gath, a Philistine, or Philistine, and a Rapha, or giant. The Philistine are the modern day, so the Philistines are the modern day Palestinians. They're the same exact name in Hebrew. There's no different. This hostility that they have for Yisrael is an ongoing process from over the ages that has continually escalated to more and more hatred for the Yahudim, the Jews, or Yeshurun, Israel, up to this very day. The Philistines or Palestinians claim to be Muslims and have always challenged Yeshurun for the land. Yet Muslims have most of the land around Yeshurun, claiming Mecca and Medina as their two most holy sites, yet they attempt restrictions for Yeshurun to its little stretch of land. Why? Why? Let's look at the descendants from Ishu, Yishmael, and Abraham's other sons, with their descendants, the Philistines. Let's see what came about of them, who they were. Let's go and look at 1 Samuel. ATh Shmuel. ATh Shemuel. ATh Shemuel. Shemuel is so it's not Shemael. It's Shemuel, because there's somebody else named Shemael, and he's a whole nother person. the leader of the fallen. Oh yeah. You don't want to. This is Shemuel. Elaf. 1 Samuel 17. So we're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to go to 8, 9, and 23, 26. So chapter 17, verses 8 through 9, 23, 26, 45, and 49 through 51 to condense it, because otherwise it's been huge. It's already a lot there. So 1 Samuel 17, 8 through 9, starting there. And he stood and cried unto the armies of Yeshurun, and said unto them, Why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and you servants of Shaul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall you be our servants and serve us. And so we're jumping to verse 23. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Galithi. His name is Galithi, or Galith. Yeah, his name is Galithi. Goliath is what they called him, but his name is Galithi by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same words. And Dude, or David, they call him Dude, or you can call him Dweed, but Dude is cool because, you get to call him King Dude, Malak Dude. And Dude heard them, and Dude spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that kills this Philistine, and takes away the reproach from Yeshurun? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? That he should, I believe it says that he should defile, let me see. This uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the YaHUaH, or the living YaHUaH. Right? Then, so we're jumping again. Then said Dude to the Philistine, You come to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to you in the name of Yahuwah Zabeh, the Lord of hosts, the Eloah of the armies of Yeshurun, who you have defied. Jumping to 45. And Dude put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell on his face to the earth. So Dude prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of Dude. Therefore Dude ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and karath, or cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. The Philistines of today have forgotten this agreement. The Palestinians of today have forgotten this agreement. The formation of Islam in the early 7th century, incorporated some of the beliefs in the scriptures of the Yahudim, because they knew and currently know it contains the truths of Abraham. They also took some of the doctrines and practices of Christianity. Christianity got most of their beliefs and doctrines from the Yahudim. Not everything in Christianity is ordained by Yahuwah using his word muddled with ancient and ongoing pagan practices. So if you're talking about you got to join Christianity, it's muddled with ancient and ongoing pagan practices. That's why we don't join ourselves to Christianity.
Not at all.
Islam was formed by integrating part of these beliefs mixed with their own existing culture, just as Christianity did. They mixed their Roman, Egyptianized culture and created Christianity. That's the same thing. Islam just copied the example that Christianity set forth. There are plenty of extensive studies done on Islam and Muhammad, who is the founder of Islam after his days of being a trader of goods in a caravan. That's what he did before. He gathered together some of the tribes in Medina who became loyal to him to fight against the pagan armies of Mecca that were coming against him. Muhammad did at least appear to believe that there is one Eloah, or as he called them, Allah. This was influenced on him because there were Yahudim, or Jews, that actually lived around his territory in Medina. That's how he learned about Allah. But when understanding the truth, he believed in Persian mythology at first, when you understand what they really believed. Now, it's commonly known that Islam uses some of the same prophets from the words of Yah, the Roman Jesus, the Roman Mary, mother of Roman Jesus, alongside their own Islamic prophets, composing their holy book of the Quran, or what's called the Horn. There are numerous studies done on this subject of this goddess worship of men, more than you have time to research, but I encourage the journey from a historical viewpoint, because when you really look at Islam, it's goddess worship. Ask him what's the name of Allah.
Ooh, this next one.
Yeah, man. It's Allah Paran. That's the name. It's Allah Paran. That's who they serve. The point that I want to get across is that Muslims claim to have the truth, but with Judaism and Christianity still in existence as religions, they are a threat to Islam's beliefs, doctrines, and current way of life. Muslims know that there's only one true way, and they are direct descendants from both of its self-proclaimed enemies, the Yahudim and the Christians, regarding their doctrine and even religious cultural influences. And that it's sad, but it's the truth. Most Muslims proclaim peace in public. Some mean it. Absolutely. But Islam professes all who are not Muslims, infidels, self-creating enemies to Islam by their own doctrine. Now, because of the truth of their religious origin, we see hatred from Islam towards Yahudim, Jews, and Christians as a result of the promise that Yahuwah made to Yisrael. Islam has always had times throughout history where they were tolerant with the Yahudim, including in the beginning of Islam. This was quickly changed because of political differences in the region that existed at the time of Islam's birth. The main factor was that Muhammad's belief and writings were rejected by the Yahudim in the area at that time. That's how it started. He turned from having tolerance to making the Jews' extermination a part of his writings. Muslims all throughout time have had Yahudim or Jews in high official places of authority because they knew the Torah that the Yahudim held the truth of Yahuwah. They knew the Torah was the truth of Yahuwah. They still know it. They also knew that the blessings always came to those that helped the Yahudim and Yisrael. It still does. But as history would always seem to repeat itself before and after these events in Medina, this tolerance never lasted too long. This was often a result of jealousy because the Yahudim and the Jews would gain strong social and financial positions in each of their different countries and societies that they were forced or chose to assimilate to throughout time. The ruling residents, who were jealous or actually intimidated of them, would slaughter, exile, seize their assets and property, and even forced conversion of the Jews if they wanted to remain in their country, or sometimes, right? Sometimes just to stay in the, just to stay alive, they had to convert. Because of this, some Yahudim would and did convert to Islam or Christianity, who were both guilty of it, depending on where they were living, and what the majority influence or religion was in the area at that time. There were always people native to the country or region that the Yehudim were living in that would convert to Judaism as well, which included the belief that the Messiah is yet to come. And this is after he came. When these conversions happened, it only escalated the hatred and oppression that they had for the Yehudim. Like, what? They're taking our people? They, that we speak of when we say they, that when their hatred, the hateful people, range from Christians, Muslims, and most other pagan countries and religions that despised the Yehudim or Yisrael, the Jews and Yisrael. Man, it's just what it is. Yisrael is the root and foundation of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all three religions. Here's one way to look at all this. You have various ways of life that are claiming to be truth. Yisrael, the original worship of Yahuwah. Then you have the organized, which is called Judaism. Right? So Yisrael, the house of Yeshua, that's the original worship of Yahuwah, how he set that up. And then you had what came to be the organized, right, Judaism, to the reformed Christianity, and then the replacement Islam. As much as the organized, reformed, and the replacement may want to claim that they have the truth, you can't even get to these religions without the original words. This reformation and replacement theory is an issue between Christianity and Islam, between Christianity and Judaism, and obviously between Judaism and Islam. What we'll see now is that the fact that none of these are correct is truth, and the truth is not bound up in any organized religious group, religions or groups, none of them. The truth is in each believer themselves, fellowshipping in the word one with another as a people, while avoiding dogmas and absolutions of any man. Don't get caught up in that. We see the proof of this claim by looking at the changes that were made in Christianity to actually give it some differentiation from how Yahuwah gave it to the Hebrews, the Yeshraelim, and the Yehudim to be done, including what was given to the 13 faithful apostles, right? Matters how you look at it. Technically, there were 14, but Yehuda Iscariot, he fell. The apostles appointed the 12th in Mattatyahu, but then Yahuwah appointed the 12th as in Shaul. Shaul bin Benjamin. He was a Benjamite. So now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Judaism today is how it should be by obviously missing the Messiah, right? If you don't got the Messiah, you're missing the mark. Christianity shows me that they still haven't received the full revelation of Yahusha ATh MaShYKh, because that we're all one as spiritual Yahudim, spiritual Jews, not as European sun-worshipping Christians or Kabbalah-keeping Jews. Otherwise, why even be born again? Or Ibar, if you're just going to keep being a sun worshiper, or if you're going to be a Kabbalah worship and mysticism, why be born again then if that's what you're going to continue in? That's not what it's about. You're not supposed to adapt your paganism to the word. You're supposed to adapt, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to leave it behind and turn and go away from that and turn to the word. Just because there's a lot of so-called natural Yahudim who don't believe that Yahusha is the Mashiach doesn't mean that another religion or people have the authority to cancel or disannul any of the commandments of Yahuwah, any of his holy days, statutes, precepts, and promises to Yisrael or the Yehudim. It's our job as converts through Yahusha, no matter where you thought you were, you got to be converted through Mashiach Yahusha. So it's our jobs as converts through Yahusha to show all this truth. We should really study the whole 11th chapter of the book of Romans. The whole thing. Don't skip it and try to parcel it out and take it out of context, among other places, so we can understand why most of today's natural Yahudim, those that keep Torah, you can try to say you're a natural Yahudim, but you don't keep Torah and your family didn't keep Torah, you ain't natural Yahudim. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, among other places, so we can actually understand why they don't accept Jesus as the Mashiach. And we can see why the blindness has come to some, but not all, the natural born Yehudim, but only for a season. When you take all the writings in the prophets, the first covenant, and combine them with the true revelation of YaHUaHUShI Mashiach in the first covenant renewed, it really solidifies sound doctrine based on all scripture. You can't try to cancel each other out with the new or the new and the old, right? It's the first covenant, the first covenant renewed. So Islam is only one example of a way which leads unto destruction. Killing yourself for any reason, including saying it's the will of Yahuwah, is just wrong. This happens to be an act of playing Elohah, or deity, over your own life. The name that Muslims call Allah is not the same Elohah YaHUaH that I serve. Otherwise, he and they would be saying the same things as the scriptures say, which is according to Elohim, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob, known as Yisrael. Muslims have derived the name Allah from Allah Faran. You did say it was here. Allah Faran. On page 109 of my book, I talk about this, which is a female pagan deity from Persian mythology. And the Kaaba stone that they swarm around every year is believed by them to actually be a meteorite in the shape of a female genitalia that they rub and kiss. Prove me wrong.
Boy.
And La Paran is who they serve. They thinking they're talking about what? What? Prove it wrong. The scriptures call the right way the straight and narrow. We should choose to enter in at the straight gate, which leads unto life. The Durak, or the way known as YaHUaHUShI Mashiach, right? The Messiah, the living Torah, is not the same as the westernized Jesus that is presented in the churches today. That's why I said the Muslims accept the Roman Jesus and the Roman Mary. They don't accept the Hebrew YaHUaHUShI. The key thing here is that the scriptures say that only a few, a remnant, are going to find the Durak, or the way, being the true way of YaHUaHUShI Mashiach, who is a Yisraeli, Eth Shabbati Yehuda, or Yeshurun, out of the tribe of Judah. Let's go to scriptures. Matthew, Mattathiyahu 7, 13 through 14. You want to be in bed? Want me to scoot over?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm eating.
You know I like to, they'd probably rather look at you than me.
I'm eating food.
I know that charcuterie board you got over there is pretty bomb. Got some figs and some dates and
I'm eating.
grapes.
Good. You keep going, do you?
Yeah, amen. It says, the scriptures say in Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14. Enter you in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate. The word gate in Hebrew is shire. Shire. Broad is the drak. That's how you say way in Hebrew. Wide is the gate and broad is the drak that leads to shachat abadun, or destruction. And many there be which go in thereat. Because yeshar, or straight. So yeshar, that word straight in Hebrew is yeshar, yesharel. So understand the word straight. It means yeshar. That's where the yesharel. He was a straight, narrow path. Yesharel. Come on, y'all. So because straight, or yeshar, is the gate, and narrow is the drak, which leads unto chi, or life. And few there be that find it. And that's Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14. We'll go to John 14, 5 through 7. Go to John 14, chapter 14, verses 5 through 7. Give y'all a second to get there. Take a drink. Hope y'all enjoying this. Praise y'all. We're about to get into it. See, when you last, we're going to get into some meat and potatoes. Almost there. John 14:5-7 says, and they call him Thomas, or his name is YaHUaHUsHI or Judah Thomas. The word Thomas or Theum means twin. So his name is Judah twin. Who is he the twin of? He was the brother of Mashiach. They called him Jude. He looked just like Mashiach did in the flesh. That's why he was called Thomas, because that means twin or Theum. Yes, sir. So it says YaHUaHUsHI Theum or Judah Thomas said unto him, Adoni YaHUaHUShI, we know not where you're going, and how can we know the way? YaHUaHUShI said unto YaHUaHUsHI Theum, ATh QaDUSh RUaKh, I am the way. Emath, the truth. Chi, the life. No Aish or man comes unto the Father, but by me. If you had known me, you should have known my Abe also, and from henceforth you know him and have seen him. We're on page 110 of my book. If you got my book, we're on page 110 of my book. It's available on Amazon if you don't have it. And we're going to go to Luke, or I call Luke, I don't call him Luke, I call him Elior. So I did a big study on the apostles and who they were and their names and their Hebrew natures for each one of them. And so I found out Luke, you can call him Luke, and it makes sense because it means tablet, like, right? And it's a tablet, and he wrote, right? So Luke is fine, but it's also his name was, because he had surnames. They all did. His name was Elior. Elior. That's close to one of my daughter's names. But his name was Elior. Go look it up. Elior. Elior 13:24. Elior 13:24. Luke 13:24 says, strive to enter in at the Yeshar Shire, the straight gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able.
Ooh, that's why I told my dishes down.
You see who the difference was. Who was with them at the end at the supper? Those that were in the supper were his apostles specifically. And then he had many disciples, remember? But then they all faded. He had 72. He sent out 70. He sent out 70 of them. Dude, Nicodemus and all, they were all one of his apostles. Yeah. Check it out. So, yeah, the scripture says, not all that strive to enter in at the straight gate may enter in. And most people don't know why this may be. This reason many will be refused entry at the gate is because many have been fed a false doctrine of the will of Yahuwah about YaHUaHUShI for our lives. And sadly, it's called Christianity and Roman Catholicism. I'm saying that we must accept Mashiach. We must accept the Messiah. Some may feel offended with me saying that Christianity is going the wrong way. But I had to come to the same realization as part of it. I got caught up in it too, because of the scriptures that spoke truth on this. It all comes down to growing up in Yahuwah, standing on your own 2 feet, and representing the truth, not a religion mixing truth and lies. You got to stand. Praise Yahuwah. Let's lay out the nations, the lineages, the people, so that we may have a full understanding of where and why it all exists outside of just the current battles that we just spoke of with Islam and Christianity and whatnot, right? As best as we can, let's lay out the things that we have in existence in our world one way or another, whether naturally or unnaturally, existing all by permissiveness of Yah. Everything that's here is by the permissiveness of Yahuwah. The ancient Elohim and their civilizations are remnants from before darkness was upon earth, are included with all existence and influences that we deal with and discover. Because there's no new thing under the sun. There's no new thing under the sun. Just because you don't understand it, don't mean it ain't out there. It ain't true. Because remember, y'all didn't create the earth in darkness. So didn't. He created it to be inhabited. And it was inhabited. Darkness was a penalty for those that had inhabited it before us. Just because you don't want to believe that, don't mean it didn't happen. So let's lay it out and look at this. Right? We cannot ignore that there is a serpent seed, right? That is against the seed of YaHUaH or Eve. Remember the curses, the seeds, the seed battle? This is what it's all about. That's what this chapter and teaching is called. It's called seed.
The seed of Eve.
The seed. Beliefs, battles, birthrights, and blessings. Seed. This did not specify that it was the seed of Adam, man, right? That it was against the seed of Adam, man. It said it was against the seed of woman, or YaHUaH, specifically of Eve. Got it, man. We're going to get deep into this. So, Adam, we're talking about, I guess I was talking about it the other day, and this is where we're at, is day 6, man, right? So, this is where we're going to talk about it. So, day 6, man. Who is day 6, man? Most people try to say day 6, man is who we came from. Well, some of us might. Some of us might be mixed with that. But there's two different ones. Do you know where I put the? That's right here. There's 2 different ones. So you have Adam, right? That's not going nowhere. You have Adam. Is it called? Which means blood. You good? Which means blood. So you're on day 6. They made Adam what? In their image. Right? And he made they, them. Male. Female. Day 6. You feel me? So, day 6, man, was given some different blessings. He was given some different things. He was provided a different course of action. And I break this. I break it down more so in the in chapter 9 of my book too, because we gotta look at things deep, and it's never just one thing. Things aren't just a quick one over and you understand it, you know what's going on. So let's actually go to the scriptures. If you have my book, it's on page 111, 111, and we talk about day 6 man versus week 2 man. Let me show it to you guys so you can see what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at. We're seeing that Adam Zakar was created male by the Elohim, and Adam Nakwabah, which is created man female by the Elohim, called they them. This is day 6 man, created an image of various Elohim, Adam male and female, outside of the garden, right, of Eden. So in the scriptures it says, you got to understand you can't read it in chronological order. There's a lot going on here. Because Yah is saying, it says here in Genesis 1:26. So go to Bereshit 1:26. I might already talk about this when I get further, so maybe I don't want to jump ahead because I think I might break this down. No, that's in the. No, that'll be in chapter 9. Perfect. So it says here in Genesis 1:26. And look, I ain't got no professional way of presenting and to make it sound and all pop with the teaching. I'm just going to teach how I can teach and give you what I got and not hold back. In Genesis 1:26 says, and Yahuwah said, let us make man. It says, and the Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So YaHUaH created man in his own image. In the image of YaHUaH created he him. Stop there. He's saying this is what he's doing, right? Boom. Then it's a whole different thing. In the midst of that, in the midst of the verse 27, male and female created he them. Right? He him and he them. Well, YaHUaH created he him. They created he them. Because go on, it says, and the Elohim blessed them, and the Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish. Replenish from what? Replenish the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And the Elohim said, behold, I have given it. So stop right there. Right? They're supposed to have dominion. They're beastmasters over all the animals. This is what they're given to rule, to be able to. They're supposed to live with the animals, so to speak, and be of the land. And these were made in the image of they them. Right? So this is they them. This is the man. So let's go look at chapter 2. Verse 4. It says, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth, which when they were created in the day, and Yahuwah Elohah made the earth and the heavens. You guys to see that this is a different phase, because Yahuwah made all this. To him, it was just one thing, right? And it's talking about this is already done. Now Yahuwah is bringing forth his things, right? It's the new day. It's a new week. The Sabbath already happened. We had the Sabbath happen. It says in the verse 2, right? And on the seventh day, Yahuwah ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Yahuwah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because then he had rested. That word rested is Shabbat, from all his work which Yahuwah created and made. These are the generations of the heavens of the earth when they were created in the day that Yahuwah. See, now it says Yahuwah Elohah. Before that, it didn't have the word Yahuwah in place. It just had the Elohim, because Yahuwah used the Elohim to bring forth the earth, places of the earth. All that creation week, which I talk about in chapter 9 of my book, all that creation week was the Elohim that Yahuwah had created in the beginning. He had created the Elohim, the heavens and the earth, and they laid out the formations of the earth, was bringing this stuff forth. There's deities being brought forth, both light deities and darkness deities. And so this is two different people being brought forth. So they were bringing forth after their own image, male and female. The Elohim, the Malachim, all the fallen they were making after their own to have dominion over the earth, right? Yah said, and it says in Genesis chapter 2 verse 5, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for Yahuwah had not caused Yahuwah Elohah. This isn't just Elohim. Yahuwah Elohah had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So check it out. Day 6 man was not given the order to till the ground. They were given to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue the earth, have dominion over the fish, over the fowl, and over the air, and over every living thing that moved upon the earth. Yah needed somebody to till the ground. That's why we're farmers. We that are made and tied to Yahuwah, we feel that we want to grow. We feel this thing. We're tied to the earth because that's what we're made of, right? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't we be? Mm-hmm. We don't want to dominate it. We want to be, appreciate what Yah gives us from it. The fruit in Hebrew is called free. Free is how you say fruit in Hebrew, because that's exactly what Yahuwah gave it to us. He gave us trees and said, here's fruit. Here's food that is free. Fruit in Hebrew is free, and you can just walk by and pick fruit. It's free. And that's Torah. You shouldn't stop nobody from picking fruit. And it says this. It says, and there was not a man to till the ground. Verse 6. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And YaHUaH formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. And YaHUaH planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. There's no she. There's no female here. There's no woman involved at this point. Right? No. He took the man who he had formed because he needed a ground tiller for his garden. His garden, if you understand the word of garden of Eden, Adon, it means the garden of time, pleasure. I break this all down in the book. Time and pleasure, desire. Time didn't exist the same with Adam when he was going through this. And it says, and YaHUaH, he says he did it. He planted him in the garden, out of the ground made YaHUaH to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of sex. The tree of sex and good and evil. That's what that knowledge means. Let's just not beat around the bush of what it means. And it goes into talking about the river and the garden. It says in YaHUaH, verse 15, Genesis 2:15. And YaHUaH took the man and put him in the garden of Adon to dress it and keep it. And YaHUaH commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the tree of sex of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for in the day that you shall eat thereof you shall surely die. Because if you're trying to give life, you're going to have to die. You want to be like a deity and procreate like they did, you got to die. And YaHUaH said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmate for him. And out of the ground YaHUaH formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam Aish that was in the garden called every living creature, that was their name of. So now you have two Adams, one outside the garden, one inside the garden. Yeah, one that is considered amongst the animals and has dominion over them, but he didn't get to name them. Woo, pissed off. He got named by Adam. The serpent, the Adam that lived out there, the Adam that could talk, the serpent, Nachash, he got named by Adam. He wasn't in, show me one scripture that says the serpent was in the garden. He was just at the gate. Adam named him. He knew his nature. And Adam gave names to all the cattle and the fowl of the air and every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet. And YaHUaH caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and he closed up the flesh instead thereof, and the rib which YaHUaH had taken from man, and he made a woman, and he brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called Aishah, because she was taken out of Aish, or man. Therefore shall Aish leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. See, that's Torah, or is that just natural law? Right? Yeah, Yahusha. That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh, no, I'm not. Hold on. I don't know what you're talking about. No. I don't know what you're talking about. I digress that, what I said. I withdraw that. But when we look at this nature, since somebody brought this up, of Adam and the rib, this exact picture of, because he's the last Adam. The Messiah is the last Adam, and he's actually the elect, the bride, the select, is that rib that's being pulled out. And that's what y'all's making the bride out of, is that rib. Not the body is the church is the body, but only, which is the Messiah. But only the rib is the bride. You can't be the bride and just be the body. No. There's only gonna be that select rib. The rib. The rib. And so we're talking about this day 6 man, which is the serpent, which is Nakash. He was made their image. Because week 2 man was made in his image. his own image. He was made as he, him, man. Right? So this is where you get those people that are confused. You get the they, thems. The he, she's, the male, females. They don't know, they're confused. They don't know what they are. Because this is what, the they, thems.
It's a thing.
The they, themers. I don't have nothing against nobody. I'm just trying to show you where it came from. So, and the seed infiltrated through the woman. It's just the fact of the matter. So week 2 man was formed before Garden of Eden, right? And YaHUaH, Adam Aish, week 2 man was formed by YaHUaH in his own image in week 2. YaHUaH then placed Adam Aish in the Garden of Eden, where he names the earth and air animals from before YaHUaH formed from the rib of Adam Aish into a Adam Ashah for a helpmate. So what happened is this was before he formed her into a helpmate. From before YaHUaH formed the rib of Adam into a helpmate. So he named all the animals before she was even here. She wasn't even around when he named the animals. She was still as a rib, bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. And so then you have YaHUaHUshi, or Eve, or womb man formed by YaHUaH, who cursed YaHUaHUshi afterwards for listening to the serpent. So this is where you have this tension. And then after she was cursed, they were driven out. The word driven out is garash. She was driven out of the Garden of Eden. And then guess what happened? First thing, conception, or Harun. She's going to have conception, or Harun, in sorrow, and bring forth sons. Desire for her husband as a ruler. Why was YaHUaH talking about sex? Why was he talking about procreating? Because they just ate something YaHUaH told them not to eat. They had one rule, one commandment in the garden. Hey, don't eat off of that tree. You eat everything else, just don't eat off of that one tree. And that's what everybody want to do now. They want to eat off everything they want. YaHUaH says, hey, don't eat that. And then that's what you want to go eat. And it's deeper than that, than just food. It's consumption in itself. You ain't supposed to go look at certain things. You're not supposed to go listen to certain things. You know, if it happens, you deal with it, repent of it. But you're not supposed to go seek it out. It's consumption. So why are we consuming these things that are unclean? And that's why YaHUaH told them the first thing is don't consume that off of that tree, right? You don't need to have that sex, knowledge of sex, of good and evil, because it says good and there's an evil side. The good side of it is there is procreation comes from it, right? But the evils, you know, but then you know as soon as you come to live, you come to the knowledge that you're going to die. I mean, remember when you're a kid and you realize, I'm going to die sometime. It freaked me out for a little bit when I was a kid, like, I'm just growing old to die? Like, what? You know, it was a concept that you have to come to realization with, but then we know that's why we want everlasting life. That's why we're born again. But the other side, the evil side of the tree of knowledge, is that of the perverseness and hurt that people are created from the knowledge of the evil side, of the bad side of sex, of that knowledge. A lot of evil from the perverseness of that comes from that. A lot of troubles, and you know what? It's just something that's probably gotten every person in trouble. Is not being able to control that knowledge. And that's why YaHUaH didn't. He's like, y'all ain't ready for it. And we weren't. We can keep going deep on that. I'm saying it's the root. It's the original sin. And we want to ignore what the original sin was. Oh, they ate some fruit. No. That ain't what happened. And when the serpent said, he said, you won't surely die. You know what he was saying? In the Hebrew, it says you won't muth, or you won't die. You're only going to die a single death. You're not going to die the second death, but you're going to die from that glory that you're at. You're going to get kicked out of the garden so you can come out here with us so we can tear you apart. That's what they wanted, right? And so you had, from there, that was a curse for her to have to bring conception and sorrow, bring forth sons. and desire for her husband as a ruler, right? And then you have the sons of Adam, man, and Eve, woman, the three brothers that came from Adam and Eve that they list. So we hear about more in that, but none of them made the list, right? You have Habal, as we talked about a little bit earlier, ATh Habal. His name means vanity. He was a keeper of sheep. There's no children mentioned. Could he have had some? I don't want to assume he could, but he was killed by ATh Queen, his brother. Cain, his name is Queen. Cain was the first queen. Queen is how you say Cain in Hebrew. Queen. Queen. So you want to be a queen? You have the line of queen. They call themselves kings and queens. Right? You're a queen. You're a queen. All right. All right now. So then you have the line of Seth. It's Seth, right? He married Azorah. She was mother of Enosh. So then I have a whole breakdown. I go with the whole breakdown of Seth's lineage all the way down to, I think on this page I have it down to Lamech and Noah. Because why I break down these lineages is you'll see through the lineage of Queen and the lineage of Seth that a lot of them have the same name. Because they were sharing the names because they knew the nature of Yah, what the times were. And so you don't think Queen and Seth were talking. You didn't think they fellowshipped at all. They didn't know what's going on. The habitable part of the earth wasn't as big as we see it now. It wasn't as accessible at that time yet. It was there. It was just a lot of it was frozen or under ice and stuff, and y'all was still thawing it out, letting it come to be in some areas. So when you look at Noah, Nach, his name in Hebrew is Nach. It's not Noah, it's Nach. And then his dad, one of his dad, I think his dad called them Manacha. Because they gave him different names and he had different nicknames. He was said to be married to Zara, right? Based on Jubilees 4:33. So you can go resource this in Jubilees 4:33. But it also said he was married to Naima or Nama, based on Jasher 3:13. I also agree that he was married to Naima, and so, but this lady was the mother, Zara, or the first Naima, could be, but at least Zara was the mother of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, or Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But it's Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So ZaRI, or Zara, or Naima, is said to have died before the flood. So the way I'm presenting it is like this. As you can see, her name was Zara, and it's in the Hebrew. You can go reference it. If you have the book, you can go reference where it's at, based on Jubilees and Naima. It was spelled a little different way. They try to give it the differentiation of this Naima with an N-A-H-M-A, but the other Naima is N-A-A-M-A-H. So it might have had the same names, because remember, they were given the same names of the different lineages. There was 2 Enochs. There's 2 Lamechs. There's a lot of, that's why I listed to show this what was happening. And so she was said to have died before the flood. The mother of Ham, Shem, and Japheth had died before the flood. And as we see repeatedly, there's a double use of names in each lineage of Queen and Seth, as it appears to happen again with Nama or Nama. Nach was married to Naima, the daughter of Chanuk or Enoch, per Jasher 5:13 through 18. So check this out, this parallel truth. This truth of lineage can be applied to both Queen and Seth, or Cain and Seth, with them both having an Enoch and descendants, but forebear, as a descendant, but forebear to Naima. This makes all that come after them in their line a daughter of Enoch. In the KJV canon of scriptures, Naima of Lamech, of Enoch, of Queen, is the only Naima mentioned around for Noah. Like, why was the point of YaHUaH laying out the lineage of Noah, of Lamech, of Queen? all the way down to Naamah. It's a hidden secret you just don't know, and I'm going to show you. Because Naamah, yeah, man, it's pretty powerful once you realize, because you wonder how the giants got over. How did the giants come on this side of the flood? I'm going to show you. So this Naamah. So we had Cain, right? Let's look at Cain's lineage. And I'm going to share it with you guys.
The book.
The lineage, so you can kind of see the Cain's lineage there. You see we're about to go through all the way to Lamech, and he had 2 wives, and then he had one wife had a daughter and a son, the other one had 2 sons. And we're going to talk about that. So here we go right here. We show the lineage of Queen. And we give the Hebrew, so you can go reference all this stuff. We're just, and you can see where it came from. And Queenan, and all the way down to Lamech, right down here, we're going to be talking about Zillah and Adah. And because Queen married Eun, that was his wife. Her name was Eun. And you go look, I'll talk about that later on, the wickedness. But the first son he had was Enoch. Queen had a son named Enoch, and this is what we call the evil Enoch. And this is where you get a lot of the 7 sacred sciences, or the false sciences come from. It's from this side of this Enoch. Because we get confused about that. We don't realize there was 2 Enochs. And that's where the other Enoch books come from. The first book of Enoch I attribute to be in truth. But the second and third book of Enoch, I don't really rock with those 2. I read them and stuff, but they don't. There's a lot of esoteric mixing going on in there. And I can see it because I've studied a lot of different histories and a lot of angles, so I can see it clearly. But then you have Irad, the land of, and so he was exiled. Cain was exiled to the land of Nod, or Nud, the word Nud, and he was a vagabond. It was the land of vagabonds and exiles. Well, how was it already a land of vagabonds and exile? Who was over there? Who was exiled over there? Was it the serpent? Right? And so his Enoch's son, who is the grandson of Queen, is called, his name is Irad. Irad, and that means a fugitive. His son's name is Mahuiel, which means smitten of El. He had a son named Methushael, which is man of El. And then you had Lamech. And these all had the word eighth before it. And I'm telling you, when you understand the word of the Elathu in front of these names, it's saying they were the first, the original. And in the Hebrew, when you see that, when you're reading it in the Hebrew in the original text, you can see the eighth in front of it, and you know it's the original man. And so you get down to Lamech had Ida and Zala, or you would say Ada and Zala. Ida was a daughter of Queenan, who was a son of Enosh. She is sister of Zillah. And Queenan was a son of Seth. So check this out. Ida had ATh Yabal and Yubal. Right? And Zala, who was also, she was a sister. They were sister wives. She was the daughter of Queenan also. And she had Thubal Cain, which means offspring of Queen, right? Offspring of Cain. And she had Naamah as the daughter, which means pleasantness. Listen, why did y'all give us this lineage of Queen all the way down to Naamah? And why, and women who are hardly ever mentioned in lineage all throughout. These women of Queen were mentioned in lineage, and there's a reason for this. Do you understand who Yubal is? Her half-brother Yubal, by her half-brother Yubal. Yubal became Ayub, or Job. Yubal, which means trumpet, right? Music, right? Brother of ATh Yabal. And Yubal is Job of the book so-called, with his 3 daughters. Another place where Yah gave us the lineage and the name of 3 women 3 women. Remember, women didn't really get lineage mentioned. And why? In the book of Job, he didn't mention any of the names of his other first 7 sons and 3 daughters. But all of a sudden, in the end, he only mentions not the 7 sons he has, but only the 3 daughters he has in the end of the book of Job. So this Yubal became Ayub, Job. It's the same one, and I can prove it. So queen, all right. So now I'm laying out some formations for you guys, so you can see. And I put it in my book who Yubal is and how he became Job, and with his 3 daughters. So we're gonna get into some stuff here. We're gonna get into it. Queen was a tiller of the ground, first slayer of man, first cursed man, to be fugitive and vagabond and hidden from the face of Yahuwah. That was his curse, to be hidden from his face. Who set a sign on queen while living in the land of exiled vagabonds. Remember, he was afraid of people. Who was he afraid of? In the east of Eden, so anyone wouldn't slay queen. Now, the Canaanites or the Quinim's deaths aren't mentioned except Queen's death in Jasher. So you don't ever hear about the death of any of these this line of Queen, right? But you do hear about that if you go look in the book of Jasher or Yeshar, chapter 2, verses 26 to 33. Right here. It says that's how Queen died. If there's no other vagabonds and exiles already abiding in the land of exiled vagabonds, then Queen wouldn't have feared any man killing him, right? Who are the other vagabond exiles already abiding in the land of exiled vagabonds that Queen feared may kill him? Was it Adam Zakar, Adam male, female created on day 6? Who was the serpent? One of them was the serpent, could talk. Look, it never said the serpent couldn't talk afterwards. It never said the serpent stopped talking. Not one time. It never said he took his speech from him. Serpent tongues. That's what it is. It says, so many wonder what this mark was on Queen that distinguished him from other vagabonds. So the mark of Queen, right? Queen made a choice towards the evil of death, forfeiting the good of death, and marked with the curse of no rest. That was his mark of no rest. What doesn't rest? A vampire doesn't rest. Queen married Eun, and she was the mother of Enoch of Queen, or Enoch the evil, right? Queen became son of the serpent under their, they, them, male, female influence and direction before and after he was exiled from his father, Adam Aish, ending with the mark of the cursed from Yahuwah. Because remember where the curse came from, amongst other curses. Ida and Zillah, Naima, are the only women mentioned in this lineage at first appearance. Right? We don't see any born females mentioned in the canon of 66 before the flood, except with Lamech and his 2 sister wives, who are the lineage of Queen and Seth, named Zillah and Ida, both daughters of Queenan, son of Enosh. These 2 women were sisters and sister wives. From Zallah and Lamech came Naima, sister of Yubal and Job. Naima is the daughter of Lamech and Zallah, and her name means pleasantness. She's the daughter of Lamech Uzallah, who was the son of Methuselah from Queen. So I just break it down and show you. Naima is the wife of Noah on the ark. And we get into the 3 daughters of Job in the book of Job. 3 wives of the 3 sons of Noah. So that's just a claim I'm making. I have this copyrighted in my book. But I'm claiming that the 3 wives, the 3 daughters of Job, are the 3 daughters, the 3 wives of the 3 sons of Noah. And here's their Hebrew names. We'll get into them. So we're claiming this in the scriptures. First name, so we have the 3 daughters of Job, or Yubal, or Ayub or Yubal, named specifically in the book of Yahub. These are the three wives of the three sons of Noah, or Noach. First names, in English you would say it's Cassia or Kezia. It's Quatsiah. In Hebrew it's Quatsiah, and it's from Quatsai, which means Kesiah is peeled, plural, the bark. And he was a later daughter of Job. Then you have, it says Jemima, right? That's where the word Jemima comes from, but it's Yemimah. Yemimah, from the same as Yum, which means the day. It's warm, an example, affectionate, hence dove. Compared to Yonah or Yemima, a later daughter of Job. It means from sea and seas. Her word comes from seas as well. When you look at the Yemimah, the people of the sea or the seas. And then you have the last one, which is Quran Hafuk, the horn, the word Quran. What? Quran Hafuk, or in how it's listed here is like this. Right there, you can see it's Quran Hafuk, and then that's the English translation. Here's the transliteration, and you can see the Quran there, the Fuk. Quran, the Fuk. I love Hebrew. And it means, it's from Quran, the word Quran, and Fuk means horn of cosmetic. In name and definition, it's tied to Ashtaroth with the Quran. Ashtaroth as its symbol, which represents Naima. Because you got to represent, when you go look at the word Quran and see where it comes from, the word Quran, it's the horn, and it's the symbol of Ashtaroth. And Naima is Mother Ashtaroth. Yes, and her with the three nieces. So Ashtaroth Quaranim, go look up the Strong's number 6255. And that's where I'm claiming this from. So here you see Quaranim, Quran, Quaranim, that's just the plural. And that just means Ashtaroth of the double horns. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and Ashtaroth man. So many, yeah, we talked about that. Naima, let's talk about Naima. Naima had to come to Noah because of the great flood coming. This is, you ain't getting this nowhere else. This is copyrighted coming. You're learning this today. You know, this is new.
Get notes. Take notes.
Naima came to Noah because of the great flood coming with her three nieces from her brother Ayub or Job, who are actually named in the current canon of scriptures in Job, chapter 42, verses 13 through 15. And she came, these were her tickets on the ark. For his three sons as means for tickets on the ark. Another piece of truth is about one of the friends of Job named Zophar. See, I'm going to tie it back. Y'all thought I was just spitting out rhetoric. Let's tie back where I'm saying Naima is Job's sister. Let's see if I'm telling the truth. So Job had one of the friends that came to him whose name was Zophar, who was Naimathi, or if you look it up, it's Naimathite. He was from the land of the area of Naima. If you know who Naima is, oh man, I might even talk about it. So let me see here, and if not, I'll bring it out who Naima is before she got on the ark. But it says who she was a Naimathite, meaning he was sent as an emissary to Job on behalf of his sister Naima. In the book of Jubilee, chapter 7, verses 13 through 17, it attempts to name the three wives of the three sons of Noah, calling one Sedekwetalub, which was married to Shem, Adamisis, who married Japheth, and Nilatamuk, who was married to Ham. Nevertheless, these are the same women, but with additional or original names of another language, where they got that from. But these four women, because remember there's four women on the ark, were all said to be the most beautiful and fair in all the land. No doubt Noah and Naima knew each other, if not of each other. I mean, you're not there. This guy's building an ark. Everybody knew about him. And then Naima, she's the most beautiful woman in the land. Everybody knew about Naamah. She was a queen amongst the pre-flood people, refusing to lie with any man dwelling amongst the giants, the Nephilim, learning all their ways. Naamah was a queen amongst all the people, and she fellowshiped with the giants. She learned all their ways, but they didn't touch her. As Ashtoreth. There is a permissive reasoning of allowing this lineage to survive on through the flood of Noah, in order that all things would play out based on the lineages, seed lines, and mixing with those whose lineages and seed lines chose to be prone to serve Yah instead of turning from Yah. An example, as with the mighty men of David being surviving measure, because they were Gabarim, they were mighty men, seed of the Nephilim, but they chose in the heart to serve Yah by protecting his anointed dude, his anointed King David. Go back and look at some of these mighty men taking out fools like 30, 40 men at a time with like just by themselves. And they served David because Yah had them there. That's powerful. But Naamah then was the blood relative great aunt of Namrud via his grandmother as a wife of Ham. Regardless which one of the three, Naamah and Namrud, which one of the three. So what happens is, because there's some stories about did Ham sleep with his mother? Well, if it wasn't his natural mother. It was his father's wife, because Naamah was given as a gift to Noah by Yah, the most beautiful untouched woman of the land. And so that's why she was worshipped. But then she fell. So check this out. So she was the great aunt of Namrud via his grandmother as a wife of Ham. So one of her nieces, right, was the wife of Ham, and she was related to him anyway as a great aunt, regardless of which one it was, because she was the aunt of the three women, regardless of which one of the three. So it didn't really matter. Naamah and Namrud is the story as part of the heathen culture's various forms of the serpent and the egg. That's where you get Naamah and Namrud, which was in parallel of them resurrecting Nephilim as Rephaim by evil spirits, using writings that should have not been used or shared on this side of the flood of Noah. So, but this is where you get Easter in Ishtaroth, and this is where you get the egg and the serpent, and it re-enroared again. It's from Naamah and Namrud. And Naamah is one of the women that came on. We forget, they don't talk about these three women that came on this side of the flood. What happened to them? They were goddesses. There was no other women that were older than them. They were above all women of the world. Everybody that came out of them was on their seed line. Think about that. They were looked upon as goddesses. And so were the sons. They were looked upon as Elohim, deities. So Naamah is the lineage of wickedness, as the woman who was cast into the ephah, covered with lead, lifted up and carried away by two women with two stork-like wings, each to the land of Shinar. You remember that story? Where they built its own house and set it upon its own base and foundation. You can go read about it in Zechariah 5:9. And it's crazy. This woman in the jar, her name was called Wickedness. The word Shinar, or Shinar, right, originates with Namrud, or Nimrod. I call him Namarud, is his name. It's Nimrod. And isn't tied to any other person or place of mentions. Shinar is also used once as Babylonish. So wickedness is in Babylon or in Shinar. Sumer. It all means the same thing. Babylon, Shinar, and Sumer is all the same word. They just use trickery of words to flip it up. Nimrod came back with many names. Nimrod is the root of all this evil. You want to know who the anti-Mashiach is? It's Nimrod. That's the anti-Messiah. It's Nimrod. He wanted to be a resurrected son and be brought back. Nimrod is the son of Cush, son of Ham. Cush is Ethiopia. Ham is Ham. I'm going to show you who these guys really were. I'm going to show you who Ham, because you don't hear much about Ham afterwards. I'm going to show you who he became. He became Hammurabi. You ever heard of the word Hammurabi? Because the word Arbai he was the father of the four giants. And he was the father, he was a great man amongst the people in the land of Arbai. And his name was Ham, so he became Ham or U, which is an Arbai, Hammurabi. And that's how they pronounced their names. That's who Hammurabi was Ham. And that's why all the writings in Egypt and all that stuff, they were his sons. Cush, Ethiopia, Matzarim, those are his sons. Lud, he was all in everywhere. He was a great man amongst these people. It didn't matter. Because guess what? He stole. That's what we're going to talk about. Let me see if I don't want to get ahead of myself. But Namrud, if you look up the word Nimrod, it's Strong's number 5248. It represents a leopard. And this shows a lot when you understand Nimrod. It comes from the word Namar, which is a leopard. And he had a leopard kingdom. That's what Nimrod represents, a leopard kingdom. And he was fathered by Cush, or Ethiopia, still of Ham. Nimrod was a Gabor, a mighty hunter, or he became one, after he received the coat of skins, because he could hide. It was like an invisibility cloak that Ham stole from Noah, which left him naked. That's why he has nakedness, because Noah was usually in his invisibility cloak. Nobody could see him. But now he took it off, and he was left drunk and naked, because Ham stole it. That's why they put a different covering on him, because Ham stole the other covering off him because he was drunk. Now he didn't do no homosexual act with his father. That's ludicrous. That's people's own perverted minds going there. No scripture says that. He left his father naked. If anything, he did something with Naima, and that was the curse. If anything. And there's no scripture that specifically say it. We can only assume. I've gone down that train of thought. There's nothing that actually says it specifically. And believe me, I went down that school of thought. But you got to remember that Nimrod, this guy Nimrod, he had two different kingdoms. He had the kingdom in the land of Shinar, or Sumer. Remember, Shinar and Sumer are the same thing. And he had he had these kingdoms set up. I broke it down. So you have Nimrod's kingdoms in Shinar, and then Ashur, or Assyria. Well, Assyria didn't belong to him. What the hell is he doing over there? Ashur is a son of Shem, the eldest son of Shem. He was taken. That's what happened. That's why Ham and Canaan got cursed, because they were taking everybody else's land. They didn't go to their own. They were trying to stay in a land that didn't belong to them, taking a birthright that didn't belong to them. That's why Noah was pissed off at them. If you read the book of Joshua and Jubilees, he's mad at Cush and Canaan and all them. So the adversary constantly attempts and succeeds with invading the ranks and authorities of Yasharel and all Gur nations and all Gui people. They're the judges who took Yasharel in many dark directions. You know there's a judge called Abaddon, real close, and they called him Abdon as one of the judges. Abaddon Bani Halal. So his name was Abdon, son of Hillel. Do you know who Abaddon and Halal are? Abaddon is the son, king of the bottomless pit. Hillel is the one mentioned now. He's of Lucifer. His name is Lucifer. Hillel. Abaddon. So who's son of Halal? Abaddon is son of Halal, and Hiel Bani Bith Hali is the house of the deity. All of the intruded lineage of Adam, who ruled outside the garden. This is the lineage of the house of the deity, Ha'ali. You got to understand that these people were always trying to invade Yasharel, the ranks. Always trying to invade them. It wasn't about color. It was about way of life. It was about way of life, of invading the ranks of the people. Let's go to Judges 12. Let's see who this evil guy, because I'm trying to show this serpent seed in this battle of belief, battles and birthrights. It's because they kept trying to take us and Yesharal in the wrong direction with the serpent seed. So go to Judges 12, verses 13 through 13:1. Shuftim. Verse 13 says, and after him, Abdon, son of Hillel, a Pirathonite, right, judged Yesharel. Abdon, or Ibadun, is how you say it in the Hebrew. Ibadun had 40 sons and 30 sons of sons that rode on 70 ass colts. What? Who are these guys? It's crazy when you look at it, right? And Abdon judged Yesharel 8 years, and Abdon, son of Hillel the Pirathite, died and was buried in Parathon, in the land of Ephraim, in the mount of the Amalekites. Why was he married in the mountain of the Amalekites? Because he's of Amalek. Tell you, boy, Amalek was always at the heels of Yesharel trying to join the ranks and get in there. Go to 1 Kings, or Malachim Aleph, if you understand me. 1 Kings, Malachim Aleph, chapter 16, verse 34. 1 Kings 16:34. This is a big serpent right here. In Ahab's day, and the name was Echab, brother, father. In Echab Yom did Hiel, or Hiel, the Bethelite, built Jericho. So what? This guy's name was what? Hiel, as it says in the English, but in Hebrew it's Hiel. Hiel. The Beth Hieli, or the Bethelite, right? Built Jericho. We already know what y'all said about Jericho. We're not supposed to be building up Jericho. Eureka? It's Eureka. There's a show they did called Eureka. It's crazy about all the crazy stuff. We're not supposed to be there. And so Jericho in Hebrew is Eureka. And they say Eureka. It's Eureka. And Hiel, or Hiel, laid the foundation of Eureka in Abiram. His Bakur, Hiel, set up the gates of it in his youngest Sagub, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke by Joshua, the son of Nun. These guys weren't supposed to be doing, they were supposed to be messing with Jericho. Supposed to leave Jericho alone. And guess what I'm showing you is this guy, Hiel, or Hilal, or Hiel. He's all throughout the scriptures, trying to hide his name in various fashions and ranks, popping up. Remember, the rulers of the seed of the serpent, the he, they, thems. They don't want us to succeed. They're the rulers over us. Yah sets them up over us. We're supposed to be farmers, astronomers, and we're supposed to serve Yahuwah. We're supposed to understand the lights in the sky. We're supposed to be able to understand His word and till the ground and farm and tend the trees in the garden. We're supposed to be gardeners. We're supposed to be gardeners. So in this book, I actually break down Genesis 10, and I do a breakdown of the nations, the table of nations in Genesis 10 in the Hebrew, because I think it's important. You want to see everybody who they are, how they're broken down, and you can see their names more in the Hebrew and the English, and you can start to see the lineages, and then you can see where they came from. For instance, Japheth, when he came out, his son, he had Gomer and Yun, or he had Gomer and Greece, right? And their sons, Gomer's sons, were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Thargama, right? They say Targama, but his name is Dugarama, and Riphath and Diphath. Those two names, and it's like where they come. So some of these, right? You got to understand. Some were coming out giants. It just was dependent because of the mothers. So some were coming out just based on their lineage. Some were coming out giants, and some weren't. And that's how they were being separated. And the giants were trying to be like the deities and rule over them. And that's what was happening. If you were great, you were ruling. You were like a god. Who was going to stop you? You were a deity to them. But then I go down and I break into Ham as well. So you can see the 4 sons of Ham, which was Sabeh, YaHUaH. Oh, that's Cush. Sorry, that's not Ham. Cush is Ham's sons. Ham's sons are over here, but over here you have Cush, Matzarim, Phut, and Canaan. And Phut was Libya, right? Matzarim is Egypt. Cush is Ethiopia. And then you have Cush's sons. Cush had 7 sons. Excuse me, 6 sons. And the 6th one was Namrud. And he raised, it says he raised. It doesn't, it says, when it says fathers, it says he allowed Namrud, which was different than the way he said he fathered the other 6, the other 5. And then I break down the sons of Matzarim. And you can see in the sons of Matzarim, you can see over here, where am I at? That's where the Philistines come from, out of the Kaphtharim. And these were all Matzarim, we know is Egypt, right? But then you can see where all these nations came out of. Ludim, Lehabim, yep. Canaan, and then here's a good one too, is what we get into, is because you can see the seed of Canaan. Let's talk about the seed of Canaan. Canaan.
What'd you answer questions?
Known as, this is my book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life, Who the Messiah Really Is. It's a book I got available on Amazon. It's on my profile. It's 405 pages long and available for you. Yeah, that's the last of the page, 404 page, 405. But right now we're on page 118 of my book, and we're just showing this seed lineage, this battle, right? Because what happened with Canaan was different, because Canaan, his sons, or Canaan, which was Arabai Bani Ham, who was the 4th son of Ham, right? Canaan, who was cursed by Noah. Canaan was cursed by Noah. Genesis 10, Numbers 13, Judges 1, 10 through 20. Arbai is Ham, and he is the father of Canaan, who is Enoch. So we know that Ham is Arbai, or Hammurabi, right? Ham Arbai. He put his names together and he became Hammurabi. And then Canaan, you don't ever hear nothing about Canaan no more. He's gone. You don't see him, right? Well, he became Enoch, or you know him as Enoch, the sons of Enoch. Then Anakim, well, that's who he came. Canaan became Enoch, or Enoch in Hebrew is how you really say it. This is the reason the sons of Canaan are the Anakim, the sons of Enoch, and are inseparable because they're the same, and that's what we're going to show you through their names. Right? It says some of the sons of Canaan, so you say his name how it's supposed to be, is Canaan, have the same name as some of the descendants of Enoch, who was the son of Arba, or Arbai. So Enoch was the son of Arbai. Well, we know Arbai is Ham, and Canaan is the son of Ham. They changed their name. They didn't want to be known and recognized for their curse. They were cursed. How the hell they don't want to be recognized by the name of their curse? They changed their names. And so then you have his sons, which were Zidon, Heth, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, the Hamathites, right? So you had all this lineage. Well, certain ones of those were also known as the sons of Enoch, such as Heth, right? Such the sons of Yebus, the Jebusites, and the sons of Amor, or Amar, right? Or the Amorites, that's where Amar comes from. You can see right here, we break down their lineage, and these are the ones that were from the mountains. that represents the sons of Anak. And we do a breakdown on the sons of Shem as well, because you want to be able to see who's who. And it's good to see it like this, because then you can really see who is coming from who. And you see Aram, Assyria. Well, that's where they all came from. They all came from Syria. And then you can see the different lineages of who's who came from what. You see where Abraham came from. See where the other side came from. Because there's the other side of lineage out there battling. These were all your, everybody. Sheba. So being able to reference and visualize, why I'm showing it to you guys, and thank you for the likes, is because being able to reference and visualize this, the lineages, it makes it more sufficient and efficient to quickly track a line of descent and or influence from these individuals that affect us to this very day. Because there's a lot of influences in the world, and you can kind of see, you can start to see it clearly. It makes more sense. Nevertheless, regardless of these lineages, we must be born again as a newborn baby in the spirit through the MaShYKh YaHUaHUShI, to be part of the everlasting lineage and promise, and be as it says in Titus 3:9. Titus 3:9 says, "This is a faithful saying, and these things I will that you affirm constantly, that they which have believed in Yahuwah might be careful to maintain good works. These things are good and profitable unto men, but avoid foolish questions and strivings about the Torah, for they are unprofitable and vain, and a man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject." It doesn't matter about your lineages, right? So what we're trying to show here and what we're going over today was more so of where the seed of descent comes from. Because there was a descent before the flood, and then there was a descent, there was a seed of descent after the flood as well. And we wonder, and we get blinded and we start fighting man against man and not realizing that there's this serpent seed that's survived, that's still here to this very day, that's trying to destroy you and take you away from Yahuwah and his word. And in the book that I have, I do break down in chapter 9. I go into who the adversaries are. I break more down on day 6 man versus week 2 man. So some of the things we talk about, we break down. Day 5 is pretty powerful because we break down the dragons in day 5. You can see here we go into the dragons and what's going on there, and the different names for the dragons, who they are, the way they hide themselves within the text, the scriptures, through different names that you don't recognize because it's been translated. It's called the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah, show the copy.
Who the Messiah really is. It's available on Amazon. But on page 238. But then I also break down the owls, because we always think of one version of owls. Well, there's a variety of different owls that and Lilith is just one of them. And those are the sirens and the mermaids, so to speak. And I give you the variations of them. And I references the abominable fowls not to be eaten, that we talk about in the clean and unclean in chapter 8. And we just go over, because there's a lot of birds out there that we shouldn't be, that we're not meant to mess with. They're left to do what they're supposed to do by Yahuwah's will. We go into talking about Bahamut and the behemoth in day 6. We break down Leviathan. We go into the serpents. We talk about the variations of the different serpents. Where the serpent worship comes from. Because you only know about one serpent. Well, check it out. There's these various names of the serpents. You only know of Nakash. It's probably one name you know of. Well, you got a lot of different names. Python. Python is a Hebrew name for the serpents. Yep. And they come in variations: the worm, serpent, asp, adder, snake, viper, arrow snake, cockatrice. I break them down, show you the Hebrew names of them. The worm. So, because knowing these words and understanding it, then when you're reading it, it's a different aspect. You're not reading it just a surface text. You're understanding, like for the words worm itself. You think, oh, it's a worm. Big deal. That means it's Rama is the word worm. That means a high place. It means to be cast down, deceived. Worm is just a representation of also a maggot. It can mean a maggot. It's also representing of one of the serpents, of one of the dragons. A worm is not the worm we think, because you think of wormwood is, it's not what we think when we think of a worm, like a fishing worm. Totally. If you want to think of a worm in this aspect, you would think of a worm on like Lord of the Rings type of thing. A worm, right, busting through the earth or something. A serpent like that. An earth. That's a true earthworm. Not these creepy crawlies we have. But we go over that. We break down spiders and mouses. It's just really seeing the whole adversary in the Hebrew words, getting it together, going to just the holes and the dens. Various words search: crooks, piercing, pierce, stinging, venom, poison. We go into all these different things. We talk about the various deities. Specifically, we break down. We talked about Hillel Shaitan. We'll do a breakdown on him and Abaddon right there. We do a whole, so you can see who this person is, where they came from, who Hillel ben Shakar, his daddy is Shakar. You didn't know Hillel, Lucifer had a daddy, huh? His name is Shakar. Shachar. Y'all out there worshiping Tupac Shakar. Darkness, it means darkness. We do a breakdown on the deities. It's all copyrighted. Do what you want. We do a breakdown on the deities that we're presented with that we don't realize are in our face today. Money, one of them's God. There's one right there, God. The deity God. It's the Babylonian deity of fortune and finance. And here, where's money? Where's the God of money? The God of money. Money. And you can reference it in the Hebrew yourself. It's a Syrian deity. Yep. It means number. That's why people worship money. Yeah, so then I do it. Like I said, I did a breakdown and on chapter 9 of who populates the earth. We do a more study on the serpent, the deities, what's going on, man, deities, serpents. Are all three going on? Are we just blind to what's happening? I do go into all the fallen deities, and we talk about, I do the archangels of Michael, and it's a lot in here, man. There's a lot of information. We go into the 7 archangels listed in Enoch. We go into what the word for watcher means, and the different words used for a word watcher, watchman, watchtowers, because we get one word and we get stuck on that. And there's so much more. And then when you're reading the scriptures and you see these words used, like for a city, but you really, this is a watchtower city, right? This is where the deities were residing in that regards. And we go into the whole fallen, the Nephilim. We go into that. And then, breaking it down, who they are, who the Nephilim are, the Gabarim, the Raphaim. And then this is where we start to really get into who they are, who your adversaries are. Is we get into Shema Zezo. And then you start to see who these people really are in your adversary. And then Azazel, who's this guy? They're the same guy. I'm telling you, they're the same guy. Azazel and Shemazel, same guy. What did Azazel teach men? He taught men to reveal the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven to men. He taught men how to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. He made known to men metals of the earth, taught men the art of working metals and bracelets and ornaments. He taught men the use of antimony. That's not even something they use now. Taught men the beautifying of the eyelids. Made known to men all kinds of costly stones. Taught men coloring tinctures. Taught all unrighteousness on earth. Slept with woman of man and bore children as giants. based on Enoch chapter 9, verses 6 through 9. He sure did. Daddy of them. He was the leader, Azazel. But we talk about all of them. And so you can see their influences like Gadriel, God, Rai, El, the perfect Babylonian deity of fortune and finance, evil deity. So we have it right here. Break it down on who Gadriel is, right? He led. This is who has proceeded against us that dwell on earth from then till the end, when he led woman or lead Eve, as they say, Eve astray. They say that's what they say in Gadriel was the serpent that led, or the one that led her astray. I have it in here, but it's woman led woman astray. Showed the children of men all weapons and blows of death, how to kill each other. They showed them the shield, the coat of mail, and the sword for battle. So this is why I say Gadriel is Azazel. So if you go with that, when you look at what he did, and you say, oh, this looks like he's still Azazel, a different form of him, like a son, so to speak, of him, Azazel. And he did the same things, taught him the metals, the swords, the coat of mail. And then you had, there's just a lot of them. Another one is Tabaith, or Tabuth. You get to the word taboo, it comes from here. That's tied to the Tiamat, that word Tabath. The one I want to get to is really bad, is because they're the ones who taught women how to strike the womb. Anybody got any questions, man? I can go on and on over the book talking about things. Anybody got questions about anything that we've discussed, about dragons, serpents? Are they real? How do we know they're real? How do we see it in the scriptures? Anything. Feel free to, ask. Let me see if I got anybody. Nobody's really watching over here in the stream, so that's cool. I got on YouTube, but it's all for the playback. But any questions? Yeah, they know the he them know the they them. The they them is definitely the serpent. Absolutely, they were all made they them, but the one that could speak, that came, the serpent that came, was definitely one of the one that was made on day 6. It wasn't given the same blessing as the one that YaHUaH formed in his own image. So the one that YaHUaH made on week 2 was he, him. The one that was made on day 6 was they, them. Male, female, made he, they, them. And when he made man in his own image as he, him, man. And then later on, he brought woman out of his rib. But feel free, anybody want to come up and join, share, ask questions, whatnot. We'll be happy to do it. If not, then we'll be ending the live in a minute. Because I got a beautiful woman here, Can't spend all night on here. Praise Yah. Yeah, some of this stuff is dry. Some of this stuff is doesn't carry all that glory, but it's truth and it's unveiling, and you start to see things and be like, okay. Because understanding words is, we shouldn't have to write words down. Actually, writing the words down is a sin that was taught to us by, we should be able to have it written on the tables of our hearts. And that's how we should be able to live. We shouldn't have to have it like this. Honestly, I did this book for my children. I wrote it for my children so that they have some, my wife, so that if something happened to me, they have something to fall back on with all this crazy doctrine and mess that they got out there. You know what I'm saying? Yahusha is the word. The Mashiach is the word of YaHUaH. So the Father, that's how you get the Father in the sense of the Son. So the word of Yahusha is the word that came forth. And through the word, he created the beginning, the Elohim, the heavens, and the earth. Right? And so the Elohim that were created from the word that was spoken, right? He created everything. That's why everything that was made through him, because the word, which came from the Father. The Son came from the Father. He's the tabernacle of the temple, the word of the Most High, the word of Yahuwah the Father. So the Father is the Father, the Son is the Son, the Word is the Word, the Spirit, the Ruach is the Ruach, the unseen, the breath, the wind. The Word is vocalized.
Amen.
The breath carries it, and then it originates from the Father. And there's no doctrine on that. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you could say that he did his word, but he used the Elohim that he created to work out and form. That's why they thought they didn't need YaHUaH no more. They thought they were all powerful to do everything because they could do things that Yah allowed them to do through his word. They knew certain things, but they didn't know everything. They didn't know the end time of us. They didn't understand us and how he was going to form us. And that was the greatest miracle because we were the last. We were the end. And they thought they were doing their own thing. That's why the darkness was on the earth, because of their rebellion. He's like, I'm done with this. You put darkness on the earth. They didn't want to give it up. And then darkness didn't want to give the earth up either. Like, nah, I'm staying. Holding it in ice. Hey, I can. Maybe we'll see if I got some time. I like the brother. I've talked with him a few times. I think me and him, we're on the same page on a lot of different things. And I know he was talking about day 6, man, too. But I can go, I don't mean to say, because he's got some good points, but I have a little bit deeper and different. I don't mean to say it like that, right? Because that's kind of pride. But I put up a lot of study into it, right? And I've listened to what he said, and I agree with some of what he says. Let's just say that. What he talks about with day 6, man, when he's talking about Pastor Kofi. If I'm up at 8 a.m. Eastern time, I don't know. I'm in the wet Arizona time, So when people say Jesus is God, what would you say? When people say Jesus, what would I say about them? Nothing about what they said. What I would say is that Mashiach is the word of Yahuwah. It says there's a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is the word of Yahuwah. The word of Yahuwah. I can't speak for other people what they say, if that makes sense. I can say that he's the word of Yah. He's the tabernacle. The Father is the temple. And it's that simple. And they're one. Can two walk together? At least they be in agreement. Amos 3:3. Right? And they agree together in one. The Spirit, the Word. We got to have a breath. If there's no life and breath in it, then it's dead. I don't need no dead, stale breath, life, nothing moving. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. I mean, tell them to send me an invite. I don't know. Like I said, my kids be trying to get me. My daughter's an early riser. She's a sun sign riser. She rises with the sunrise.
Before the sunrise, yeah. Sometimes.
So right, she be up. So we'll see. We might be available. But yeah, any other questions? I mean, if you got them, I'm here. Ask them while I'm here. I don't mind. Ain't nothing you can ask me I can't answer. I'm not trying to be prideful, but I just know where I'm at. Don't mean I won't answer it. But yeah, man. I mean, that's why I wrote a book, because there's so much. It's hard to get everything into one thing, and there's so many. You can't just. It's just not, it'll be parceled, right? So that's why I wrote a book to share, breaking down the creation week, the whole first week of creation, because within that we see, if you read it, and we do it based on Hebrew, and not just based on one Hebrew letter, one word that is translated from the Hebrew. We look at all the Hebrew of it. So when you use the word God, that's the trick. So that's that. I don't mean to be like, specific or detailed, but I am. So when you use the word God, that word is Elohim. So if you see in chapter 1, it was the Elohim that made man in their image, right? But when you go into chapter 2, you see it's YaHUaH. You see Lord God, right? That's when you go look in the Hebrew, now you see YaHUaH there. YaHUaH Elohah created man in his own image. So the gods or deities or the Elohim made man in their image as other people, yep. And then, so them, we're all, and then most of us came from, we came from Adam, East, that Yah made in his own image. So we're all mixed up. We all got mixed up. That's what happened. And then, so then coming through the lineages all the way down to the Mashiach came, because we're all mixed up with Nephilim blood, Gabarim blood, Raphaim blood, all kinds of mixed. We're all mixed up, every one of us. Every one of us. Nobody is no type of nothing. I don't care what they say. They're mixed up with something. And I'm not talking about color or race. I'm talking about the blood. And that's why we have to be born again of the Mashiach Yahushai. And there's only one way. And that's why we have to spread the gospel. We have to spread the word, the Bashurah, so everybody has an opportunity to it, because the end's coming, right? And that's our task, is we have to spread it to those that think they don't need it. That don't think they don't want, good, we got our own culture. Well, okay, cool. Let me share this with you. Do what you want with it. I'm not trying to control or convince. I'm just trying to share. And that's how you got, that's how we are. That's how we be. So, Hillel has a father. He says Hillel ben Shakar. It says Lucifer, son of the morning. The word morning is Shakar. Shakar is the if you go understand, if you did study on who Shakar is, it's the dark side of the morning. Darkness. And so, and it says he had sons of the morning stars. There are some brothers too. The morning stars. Those sing. Go read Job. And man, these deities had, don't you see, there's hierarchies in everything. There's hierarchies in everything. In the angels, in the cherubims, in the seraphims, in the uphanims, or the wheels, in the rings. There's hierarchies in all of it. There's always order in everything. Absolutely. I'm not talking about sex in the sense of sons. I'm saying they were sons in the sense, but then the deities did fall and have sex with women. Because look in Job, it said the Beni Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah. The sons of the deities came to present themselves before Yahuwah, and Shaitan came also. He was one of Shaitan. Yeah. Hillel ben Shaitan. Yeah. People try to say they're not the same. I would say that there's more than one Shaitan. There's the Shaitans, because it's more of an influence, more than one specific entity and deity. Yet it is one deity that has a stature of Satan, devil, serpent, dragon. So its stature is fourfold. And then, just on that aspect. So you can't ever try to lock anything into a doctrine. You just got to understand and be on top of it. Yeah, it is. I would say it's hard. Yeah, absolutely. The reason why is because it's a transitional study. Because all you got is English. This allows you to be able to move it to the Hebrew without having to know Hebrew, without having to have a whole Hebrew Bible. So that's exactly what this book is about. It's a transitional study to allow you to get more in grasp and engulfed into the Hebrew side of the words and see what it means. Absolutely. It can be difficult to read for sure. I believe. So you say the word human. The word human is different than man. Human is a part of a man, a hue of a man, a color of a man, right? A fiction of a man. But Yah made man, Adam, and so we're man. The word human is something that you've been presented, and it comes from the Catholic Church to present you as a part of a man, because they control through the papal bulls. They did a papal bull that gave him all authority as the father over all humans. And so I don't use the word humans, but then I realized, wow, they know the truth of that. There was humans that were made, but we're made of man in his image. Humans were made in the image of the absolutely, in day 6 in their image, as they them. He said they were made in their image as they them. And you get people trying to give you all these other understandings of the Trinity, and that it was talking to himself and the Holy Ghost and all that. No, the Elohim tried to make man in their image, 100%. You just presented with a whole other thing. He's called the bright and morning star. You said it right. He's not called the morning star. He's the bright and morning star. Totally different. I have a YouTube. You can check me out on my YouTube. This is all being recorded right now, so you can go back and watch it if you want a study of it. Exactly, they, them. Who is they, them? Exactly, because Yah made man in His own image as He, him. That's where this spirit of they, them, this influence. That's where you get people talking about, I feel like I'm a man or a woman inside of them, whatever. They're confused. They got this other spirit inside of them. This they, them spirit. It's real. Came from the beginning. This has been around. There's nothing new under the sun. So yeah, he's not related. Yahusha was called the bright and morning star. Exactly. So that's who they is. Very simple. See, we're presented as this thing is that we're presented with a organized, boxed-in version of the truth. When you read it in the Hebrew, when you're able to not, if you're able to say, okay, I'm gonna act like I don't know nothing and read this like a baby. That's why. That's when MaShYKh says you have to come to being born again like a baby, and because you have to act like you don't know nothing to ever be able to learn something. And that's something that trait that Yah has allowed me to have. And be successful at many levels in my career and whatnot is because I haven't always been there. I was super prideful, but then I learned to become as a baby and learn and be able to say, okay, I'm gonna get rid of my preconceived notions, which are mostly deceived perceptions of reality anyway. And so then I would let that go and say, oh, let me just look at this from a fresh point, and I would take it out and I would say if it couldn't fit or sit with the root and the foundation of the word, then I would let that train of thought go, but I would I'll be able to go out on a train of thought. And I thank y'all for that. But I'm always rooted in the scriptures. Nah, he and them ain't the same thing. They and them ain't the same thing. He, him is one thing, they, them is another. And Adam, and it wasn't Adam and Eve. He just made Adam only. He only made Adam. And then later on, once he put Adam in a deep sleep, like the church world is in a sleep now, he reached out into the body and crawled out the rib, closed him back up, and presented him in with his bride. Just as there's a story to be shown, is that's exactly what YaHUaH is doing with the Mashiach, reaching into his body. The church world's in a deep sleep. He's pulling out the bride, closing it back up, and he's presenting the bride to him. Just the rib. Yep. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. However you say your name, you know, y'all screen names are crazy sometimes. Rui Chu. All right, we're gonna roll with that, Rui Chu. So yeah, exactly what I'm saying is that there was deities. The deities YaHUaH created through His word. The Elohim, yep, created people. They created people in their image. Absolutely, 100%. You know, if you want a book to really look into some deep stuff, it's this book is pretty good. You gotta again be found in the scriptures, but it's called sorry about that, baby. It's Genesis 6 conspiracy. It really goes into a lot of different things. It's called Genesis 6 conspiracy. I don't believe everything I read in here, but it's a good perspective because they take it from every culture. It's information about man from every mythology, culture, everything, and they present it of how they believe people were formed, and the people that they have document proofs of blue men, white men, black men, brown men, green. You know, they have them all. It's crazy, and they're all because different deities were different colors, and that's why Yah doesn't care about. It's not about colors. We're all mixed up. We're all mixed up. They, them, through the line of Queen, and through Lama, and through Naima, and through the three daughters of Yubal, who is Job. Job is you got to understand who Job was. Job is one of the oldest books written in the scriptures. Mm-hmm. It's a pre-flood book. Job. Remember, the sons of the deities were coming to present themselves before YaHUaH still in these days, in the days of the book of Job. So Job was the father was Yubal. Ayub is how you say him. Yubal, Ayub is the same person. And he had three daughters. The nieces of Naamah. That's what we just went over the whole study about. And so that's how they came through Naamah, through the seed of Cain, queen, and through the 3 daughters of the seed of Queen, through the 3 daughters of Lamech. Excuse me. Yeah, the 3 granddaughters of Lamech through his son Job. Yeah. That's how that lineage survived. Job that's because he was righteous. Only his daughters came through. But he didn't make it. Job didn't make it. Not on this side of the flood. So they survived as the 3 wives of the 3 sons of Noah. And that's what we just went over the whole study with. You can go back and read this, watch the study on YouTube. My link's on my page. Starseed. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing, people. That's a whole nother thing. What it is they're being influenced by people from the fallen stars, fallen angels. Angels are stars. It's that simple. It's that simple. Stars are angels. Angels are stars. They're not some random gas balls sitting up there. They're living things. Their light is living life, light, love. So there's influences that we have. Absolutely. And so the fallen that are here on this earth, or evil spirits, they have influence on you. That's why you're not influenced to do things on your own. Where do you think it comes from? So star seeds are people, those are being influenced by fallen stars. It's sad because then you go to Starfire is what these fallen ones, these serpent seed that's still around this day, that's what they drink, and that's the blood of man. They call it Starfire. And star seeds are just those that are caught up in being, I'll just say they're possessed. People that claim to be star seeds are possessed. And I'm not trying to say nothing about, but you're possessed by a spirit. Believe me, I've looked into it deep. The books of the Abraham writings and all that. I know about all that. What's that book of starts with T or something? But yeah, I've read it all, man. It was way back, like 20 years ago. Oh, I went through all that crap like 20 years ago, just seeing what the heck is this stuff. Keylontics and all that stuff. Yeah, man, starseed, that stuff ain't the way to go. I know joyous and we're all happy. We're all from the light and everything, and I'm cool with the vibe and the positive vibe of it, but it's still spirit possessed. It's not the word of Yahuwah. It's you're falling under the influence. But then again, there's angels that are ruling on this earth now. We entertain angels unaware all the time, every day. So it's here, it's real. But you don't mean you need to worship them. Yeah, we serve one, and that's Yahuwah. And that's it. Yeah, do that. Amen. Keep it alike. I'm nobody, man. We ain't trying to be somebody. We're just of that one body. We're just trying to make it to the end, share what we got. We can talk about anything. In the book, I go over the holy days. That'll probably be the next teaching that we do, is on the holy days. There's nothing glorious about it. It's the holy days, but what we're going to try to do is tie everything back to the Mashiach. And so how it's tied back to the Messiah, so we're not just going over dry information. Really, we can break down the Messiah's crucifixion timeline too. That's something that I love going over because, and go over the Sabbath, the Shabbat, based, how it has nothing to do with Saturday or Sunday or Friday, any of those days.
I think just the holy days.
Yeah, just everything in there, and how to keep time. And I have it all in my book, just to keep it real. I have it. It's all available in my book. It's on Amazon. But because these are things I think people, and how to be born again, the basics of that. Prayer, clean and unclean, keeping the commandments as they are, what that means, right? Holy and holy, yeah, all that. Time, growing, changing. Hebrew is a Hebrew lesson. Hebrew transliteration system I got created and copyrighted in there. So you can understand how to take the Hebrew to the English and not have to be stuck in the Babylonian script of the Hebrew. Or even the pictograph. I mean, we can go all the way back there, but we're living in where we got English. So, well, Yah has allowed a system for us to be able to do the English and the Hebrew. The food laws are the food laws. So what is Jesus? So his name, or I guess, so the Messiah's name in Hebrew is YaHUaHUShI. And that's exactly what it is on the book here. YaHUaHUShI. And I break down why. And I break down why on page, the one I was working with. Oh, it's under here. A breakdown why on the names. Let me see. I got it listed in the free on page 24 in my book. Give you. We go into it. We do a little breakdown on the names. ATh and then we go into YaHUaH. We're going to YaHUaHUShI, where we got those from. In that regards, we go into the titles, the Adonai, the Elohim, the Allah, Eloah, all those, so you can see where all that came from. Which one do you want to choose to utilize? El Shaddai. I know in Anuka I have I'm gonna be having a update of Ilion, right? With the word Ilion. And then I do a breakdown on the Hebrew 12 tribes, or excuse me, the 12 apostles, 14 technically. But so YaHUaHUShI is how we say it. The thoughts on food laws. Food laws is the word says what it is. Look, in the beginning, the whole thing that got us in trouble is eating something that Yah said don't eat. Mm-hmm. Don't eat it. And so with us not eat and us trying to make up our own thing, why would you just not want to follow what Yahuwah says to do? It's just rebelliousness in our own hearts that causes us to not want to do it. Technically, you know, we don't eat a lot of meat anyway, and then we're realizing if you can't source your food, why are you eating it? Is it really food? And we understand why Yahuwah says food. So we just eat animals that are considered food, if that makes sense. We don't eat animals that aren't considered food. That's how we roll when it comes to food. And it's called The Way, the Truth, and the Life. Who the Messiah really is. It's on Amazon.
Too much. I can't view.
What he selling anyway? Ain't selling nothing. You don't have to go get nothing. Ain't no he's selling nothing. Don't even worry about it.
Thanks for the view.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So there's a difference between angels and Elohim and deities. There's the Elohim, which are deities, which are the, as you would call, gods. See, that's the book breaks it down. And then you understand that there's angels, there's malachim, there's cherubims too, there's seraphims too. There's different characters, there's different hosts of heaven. And we don't, all we are really are told about is the angels, the malachim. So no, it wasn't the malachim came down and mated. They fell and mated with women, for sure. We know that's a fact. The angels came down and mated with women. So technically through procreation, they were making beings in their image. And that's just, man, it's rebellion. The ones that fell, woo-wee. I'm telling you, and that's what's happened before. The ones that fell, they're in prison right now under the earth. Right now, to this day, they're immortal beings. They couldn't die. They had to watch their offspring die, and then after you let them watch them all die, then you imprisoned them and then brought the flood. Yeah. So you're using the word God, right? The word God itself is a deity in itself. I'm not saying God, not one time. I'm saying Elohim and Yahuwah. Yahuwah is one, is echad. But he created many Elohim. That's his creation. He created the Elohim, the heavens and the earth. He created them. He made them Elohim, not us. And he makes us Elohim as he chooses fit. And that's just power. He gives us power, strength. He made them. So it ain't for us to understand, to control how he made powers and how he made the powers as he made them. So when you say the word God, no. The God, Yahuwah, is Eloah. The God is an Elohim that was created, technically brought up by the mind of man. So yeah, there's only one Yahuwah. Yahuwah is echad, one. Many Elohim. There's only one Yahuwah Eloah. Yeah, they do. They do look like men and women. The serpents do look like men and women. Absolutely, 100%. They were man and man in the image of the Elohim. And we don't know which ones, all the ones that were in part of that. There's nothing that gives us the full story of it, because they don't want us to know that story. They don't want us to know the secret. This is their secret, that they're ruling us as kings and queens and rulers and governments and officials, and we're the workers. But that's what it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to be the exalted ones right now. Ordered your book. Thank you for sharing. Oh man, praise you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Praise YaHUaH. I hope it's a blessing to you.
Amen. Thank you.
It's more for the information. Yeah, so I definitely hope it's a blessing to you. Let me see. But God means Elohim. No, it doesn't. Elohim means deities. They say God or gods or goddesses. Elah. Here in page I think it was 14 or something. With the names. It might be 11. It was 24. Page 24. And I go into the different Elohim, Eloah, because that's a big thing, right? Is we don't understand it. You don't understand because there's Eloah, which is singular for deities. Then there's El, which is deities, right? God. Which is really, I should say deities, not God, because God is a Hebrew word, which is a deity of Babylonian fortune, a deity of fortune and finance. And you have Elah, and you have Elohim. And so by understanding the variations, I call him Yahuwah Eloah, because it's singular, specific to him. Yep, so YaHUaH created Elohim that created some people, absolutely, in their image. Absolutely. And then YaHUaH made man in his own image. Because they try to beat him to the punch. There's always trying to they thought they didn't need YaHUaH anymore. They was like, we helped do all this. We don't need you. Who are you? He's like, I'm the one who created you. Flat Earth or globe Earth? Ha. We'll go with biblical Earth. How about that?
Biblical.
Thanks, Ethan, for the word. We'll go with the biblical scriptural Earth. We'll go with the scriptural Earth, which is more. We definitely don't believe in a globular Earth. They don't even believe in a globular Earth. The ones that push a globular Earth. They even know they even call it an oblate spheroid, which is in the shape of a pear, not a ball, but they present you with a picture of a ball, but they say it's not really that. So your opinion on YaHUaH taking over the role of El now? YaHUaH is YaHUaH. El is a deity. His name is YaHUaH, and he's Eloah. He is the deity of, he's Elohaki, Elohim. He's the deity of deities. Yeah, that's who YaHUaH is. El was a pagan deity they tried to create, but his name is YaHUaH. His name is not El, just El. It's YaHUaH El, or El YaHUaH, deity or deity YaHUaH. But his name, he has a name. El was just the one they tried to create in the bull. I mean, YaHUaH is going to make us as he sees fit, but there's three different forms of resurrection in regards to the light that you're going to come in, either the starlight, the moonlight, or the sunlight, based on 1 Corinthians 15, 39 through 43. It says, so also is the resurrection of the dead, when he talks about these different glories. Is that what we're saying? See, the word shaitan, shaitan means adversary. And in the book, I break down more than just shaitan. I break down this whole statue of dragon, serpent, devil, and shaitan, because you want to understand that he has a stature, and which is the dragons, which is the serpents, which is the devils, which is Shirim or Shadim, and then the Satan is Shaitan, the dragon is Tanim or Tamim. It's they hide it for sure. Yeah, Hillel is a deceiver. Hillel ben Shakar is a deceiver for sure. But yeah, man, that was a nice little round robin. My last question. All right, go. Do you suggest studying 54 book of the Apocrypha? Why not? Why not? Is what I would say to that. I've studied the pseudepigrapha, the Apocrypha, but the Apocrypha, I mean, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? You got the Dead Sea Scrolls, the pseudepigrapha, the Apocrypha. You got the Book of the Bee. You got the Book of the Cave of Treasures. You got the Nag Hammadi. You got the the Veda text, the Papal Bull from the Mayans, the Secret Teachings of All Ages, yeah, man, you got, I mean, you just got really, I stick to the scriptures, right? I've read it all throughout my youth, so I would say if you don't understand the scriptures already in the 66 and you can't found in those, then why would you go read anything else? But yeah, Enoch for sure. The Apocrypha, I definitely suggest those in my book. I actually suggest those right here. Yeah, right here. I suggest some of the 12 right here. And then also talk about the book of Enoch, suggesting the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher. But talking about Thoth and the Hermetic oaths and stuff. I've read it. I don't really get into that stuff. It's just teachings. It's just a lot of it's just gnosis teachings, agnostics and gnosis from over the time, like the Pistis Sophia type stuff and things like that. But have I looked at it all? Yah's allowed me to look at everything. I mean, to be honest. But I've learned, it all comes back to his books, his words, and being founded in that, and just making sure I'm aligned with the Mashiach and doing things out of love. Because if I don't have that, I have nothing. Enoch is powerful. All right, I'm gonna give him this, and then I'm out. I'm gonna leave y'all on this. Simplified question only because of the angel. Check this out. It's Enoch and Eliyahu. It's not going to be the two witnesses. It's Enoch and John the Revelator. That's going to be the two witnesses. You know what I'm saying? That's who the two witnesses are. John the Revelator has not died, has never seen death at this very day. He's not going to see death until Mashiach returns. And he said, what is it to you if he tarries till I return? And so that was while he was here on his 40 days. And he said, what is it to you if he shall? And that's why he hasn't. They try to kill him, burn him, hang him, do all kinds of, boil him. They couldn't kill him. That's why they exiled him on Patmos. And that's where he wrote Revelations, Chazun. But he never died. He's never died. Hanuk never died. Eliyahu came in the form of John the Baptist, and he died. He got his head cut off. Even Messiah said he was John the Baptist. Yeah, so Enoch is, go read the book of Enoch. It's pretty powerful. Man, praise y'all, praise y'all. Well, with that said, y'all, man, appreciate everybody.
Send us book. It's gonna send you his info.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you send me your link if you need it.
Send us the book.
And we can send you a copy.
Yeah.
If I'm I'll add you if I need to, and I can send you a free copy if you need it.
Yeah, he wants a book.
Anybody that has questions or wants to ask questions or whatnot, just add my wife, Danielle, for women that want to ask questions or get addresses or maybe need a book sent that they can't afford or whatnot. Just reach out, add my wife and message her, and she'll add you back. I prefer to do it that way because I don't, first of all, I have a lot of time to answer the DMs, and second of all, it's just she's my man. She's my first lady. She's my woman. So she handles a lot of stuff. We work together. This is our ministry that we're doing. So praise Yahuwah.
So that way we can get these books out.
Yeah, and it's really not to sell anything, as the one brother said, because you don't make no money off this stuff. It's more so to spread the word and get it to people, and then let them have a choice on what they choose to believe or not. And then a lot of it is you don't know when what books are going to be burned or when you don't have access to this online source or any electronic sources. You gotta have some. I'm trying to have something for me to have too, in case something condensed that I can say, okay, I can get back in it, and at least I know it's going to help me get to the end, to the bride, to the new city.
That's about.
Bless y'all, and may David and y'all and them.
Thanks, David.
And Rui Chu and all you guys for your questions. Yeah, it's the new edited one. If you bought one already, if you did buy one of previous that was only 280 pages, let me know.
Reach out to me so we can get you
I'll send you
a
free one. Free, no problem.
That way we can get you a new one.
Yeah. And if you do buy it, I'm gonna lie, it's a study, it's a transitional study. But look, the same stuff you've been getting for all this time and all these years just isn't working. It isn't giving you anything that's gonna bring you closer to the Most High. So why waste your time on it? But also I want to have fellowships, and we're gonna study and go over it, ask questions, question me about it, whatever the case is.
My ad. I guess I'll just do a. It's my ad.
She's gonna do it. Oh, I can do it right here. I can do it right here, I think. Yeah. Boom.
You just hit send.
Boom. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, somebody.
Thank you.
Just Banks put it up there.
That way we can send these books out to you guys.
There's so much to talk about, so much to study. I really don't want to study and read out of a book. It's kind of boring to me. I'd rather study on the fly in the Ruach, but that's what we'll be doing more. But I just want to also give people opportunity to see things in a teaching format.
It's all about fellowshipping.
Yeah.
With like minds.
But I mean, we can get on some stuff. Y'all, if y'all have things y'all want to hear about or teach about or learn about, send her a message and whatnot. Yeah, it's 1428 or something.
That's on Amazon, but we're saying if you can't buy it,
you can't afford it,
reach out so we can get it sent to you.
Miss Heather, if you can't afford it, let us know.
Times are hard. We get it.
Not about growing. Praise Yah. Praise YaHUaH. You don't gotta do it. Hey, we'll give you a free one. It don't even matter like that. You gotta understand. I don't have means to. Do you have means to write a book or publish one, right, and get it printed and put out? I don't have those means. So you have available online printers that allow you to do it, but they charge you. So you have to be able to cover the cost of for them to disperse it and send it out. That's where it's at. So if you can't afford it, let us know. We'll send you a copy. Yeah, you can leave though. You're just in here spewing bad information, so you can go. You can go. Come in. Why? Like, see how people come in? They just all they got is just bad. They don't have nothing good to say.
I got you, baby.
Yeah, I got it already. So, and we're going. Not only that, we'll get you.
I got it too.
Yeah. Hold on. But just let us know if you have any questions. Shoot it over to us, and we'll get those answered for you. So we want to do teachings based on what you want to hear. We don't want to just do blabbering at the mouth and talking about what we think you want to hear. If you have something that you feel like you really is a big issue for you, or a big teaching that you need to have more clarification on, shoot my wife a message, and I can put something together, and we can present a teaching and plan it, and I can get it even put on YouTube for you guys. But yo. Oh, she got blocked. Shoot. Yo. All right, y'all. Have any other questions? Praise YaHUaH. May YaHUaH keep you and bless you in the name of the Mashiach Yehosha. May you be led and guided in the ATh QaDUSh RUaKh, the set apart spirit. And it's a choice. Nobody can force you to do nothing. Nobody can make you do anything. Everything is a choice that you make, because you're going to want to be the one that has to answer for everything in the end. Nobody else is going to be there. Just you and the Mashiach as your advocate. So make sure you use him at every chance you get and plead his blood and be born again and covered in his blood, because that's all we got. You have a blessed Yom as well. Remember, Shabbat is from Sunday night through Monday evening. That's the Shabbat for the 6th month. So right now we're on the 6th day of the week, of the first week of the 6th month right now. We're right there, heading towards the 7th month with the holy days are popping off. It's going to be awesome. All right, y'all. Shalom. Have a great one. And thanks for joining us.
Shalom.
Shalom. And then everybody, I just want to say thank you for joining us. I just want to go out, and even though it doesn't look like anybody really has participated in our viewing or chat, but I hope you guys, if you come back and watch this, that you're blessed with it. And we're just going to go out with a shofar blast. And thank you guys for everything.